Hello and welcome to Lee Jordan Field here in Chugiak for the first time in what feels like forever.
Yeah.
It's been over a month since the Bucs have visited the Chinooks back on June 12th. A crazy game, 12-7. The Bucs took that win, and the Bucs coming off of two wins yesterday against the Pilots. On the flip side, the Chinooks have dropped three straight, scoring 0 runs in those three games, and they find themselves in fifth place, fighting for a playoff spot. On the other side, the Bucs in first place with a win today would clinch a top two seed and thus a home series for the first round of the ABL playoffs.
And Will, I would normally say that this is a perfect recipe for the Bucks to go out and win this game, but the Chinooks, like you just said, are still fighting for that playoff spot, and they're in dead last. And will 4 out of the 5 ABL teams make it? And being the one that doesn't make it has got to sting. So you know that the Chinooks are going to come out here and they're really going to try to pick up a win against a Bucks team that they have struggled against. 5-1 the Bucks are against this Chinooks team, and we've seen a variety of different games. In the first game, played 1-0 victory for the Bucks all the way. The first game in July, 4-3 victory for the Bucks. So we've seen those one-run games, but then huge splits: 8-2 victory for the Bucks, 6-0 victory for the. Unfortunately, they didn't get the win because the Bucks came out with 12 runs. But like I said, the Bucks have a lot of success against this Chinooks team, but it's also a Chinooks team that knows how to hit some of these Bucks pitchers. So the Bucks cannot be on their heels. But like I said before, this should be a perfect recipe for a sixth straight win for the Bucks.
Yeah, these two teams will play a bunch 4 times in the next 5 days. You talked about the Chinooks maybe knowing these Bucks pitchers. Both pitchers actually pitched just the other day when these two teams played on Tuesday. We'll let you know who those guys are, as well as the lineups they'll be facing when we come back. Apologies if you missed some of that intro, dealing with some technical difficulties here. Like we said, been a long time since the Bucks and ourselves have visited Lee Jordan Field here in Chugiak, but hopefully things run smoothly for the rest of the broadcast. And been a while since the Bucs have been here, but it has not been a while since Eli Lipinski has faced off against these Chinooks. He pitched in the 6th and 7th innings in relief on Tuesday in that 6-0 Bucs win. And in those 2 innings, he looked really sharp. No hits, no runs, 2 strikeouts, and no walks. That was his last time out and his third time in total facing these Chinooks. And looking at his full season stats, this will be his first start in league play. He did start back on July 4th. That was 4 innings of 1 run ball. That run unearned, 2 hits, 4 strikeouts, and 3 walks. But for the full season, 7 1/3 innings pitched, a 3.68 ERA, 4 hits, 3 earned runs, 6 strikeouts, and just 1 walk for Eli Lipinski. Those other 2 times against the Chinooks, the first one way back in the first win of the season for the Bucs on June 7th, a 1-0 win. He pitched 1 inning, giving up 1 hit, no runs, no strikeouts, and no walks. And then that second time was a little bit rougher, but that was just with him coming back so soon from the July 4th start. Came back for July 7th just a few days later, walked the only batter he faced. Then Coach Montez and Lipinski himself realizing maybe he was a bit too sore and came back too soon. But other than that, been pretty successful against the Chinooks. And for the Chinooks, it'll be a pitcher that the Bucs are also familiar with.
Yeah, Nolan Livesey will be on the hill for the Chinooks, making his 8th appearance. 6 out of the 7 previous appearances have all been starts. His actual last time out was his first non-start, which is a little bit interesting to see. It was actually against the Bucs on July 23rd. Came out in relief, 1 1/3 of innings, 2 hits, and 1 earned run. So a pretty good outing last time out. Struggled a little bit against these Bucs batters, but it was a 6-0 victory for the Bucs against the Chinooks. In total, Livesey 36 2/3 innings pitched, 35 hits given up, and 18 earned runs. Good for a 4.42 ERA. He is 3-2 on the year, and his last start was on July 19th versus the Matsu Miners in a 3-2 loss for the Chinooks. Pitched 6 2/3 innings, 2 hits, 3 runs, but just one of them earned. So a really good game. Just didn't have help from the defense, and it looks like not a lot of run support as well. Going back to his first and only start versus the Bucs, we'll take a trip back to July 9th. That was a 10-4 victory against the Bucs, and Livesey started that game 6 2/3 innings, 4 hits given up, and 3 earned runs. And the 3 earned runs was definitely not concerning at all because the Chinooks came out with 6 spot in the first innings. The Bucs were looking down the barrel of a long game against the Chinooks. It ended up being pretty long, but the Bucs were able to get 4 runs and cut the deficit down to just 6. But Livesey has looked pretty good this year for the Chinooks, but the Bucs have hit him fairly well. And for the Bucs, they will start with Josh Hankins, who's been leading off more than usual as of late. He'll play at third base. Then Cole Carlone will be the 2-hole batter. He'll also be the designated hitter in today's game. Andrew Lamb will bat third and play in right field. Ryan Callahan, the cleanup batter, playing at first base. Brody Briggs hitting fifth and being the catcher in today's game. Max Ross will hit sixth and roam in center field. The second baseman, Rob Vandergrift, another start for him, who will bat seventh. Batting eighth, Adam Inyart will play in left field. And rounding out the order, the number 9 hitter is number 9, Will Burns, playing at shortstop. Once again, for the visiting Bucs, Hankins, Carlone, Lamb, Callahan, Briggs, Ross, Vandegrift, Inyart, and Burns all behind their starting pitcher, Eli Lipinski. As for the hometown, Chugiak-Eagle River Chinooks, Cade Smith will lead it off and be the designated hitter, followed by R.J. Rickaball. The 2-hole batter will be the catcher in today's game. Jacob Hayes is a 3-hole hitter playing at first base. Batting fourth, the cleanup batter, Luis Zulaika, will play at third base. Hitting fifth and playing in center field is their normal guy, Jaden Hill. Brady Groves will roam in left field and bat sixth. Oliver Dagenhart will be the shortstop, batting seventh. Hitting eighth, Sam Klopnoski will play in right field, and Keaton Laley will round out the order. The 9-hole batter will play at second base. Once again, for the hometown, Chugiak, Eagle River Chinooks, Cade Smith, Rickaball, Hayes, Zulaika, Hill, Groves, Dagenhart, Kwapnoski, and Laley, all behind their starting pitcher, Nolan Livesey. Just about 2 minutes away from our first pitch, and I can already tell you right now it's going to be a little bit longer than just 2 minutes. We got a 4-man umpire rotation. I believe we've had that in just 2 games prior to today's game, so it's always good to see one extra guy out there to help us out, especially for check swing calls, third and first base down the line. It always helps out a little bit, and we could see, probably we'll see Brody Briggs and R.J. Rickball, both catchers, looking down the lines for check swing calls from these from these side umpires, first and third. Of course, we'll have one at second base as well. And the PA announcer is about to announce both lineups. We're here at Lee Jordan Field. Like Will mentioned, just the second time the Bucs have played out here, and we've got three more games, including a doubleheader after this one. The Bucs have a long 4 games here to play before the end of the regular season. But luckily for the Bucs, they've had really good success against the Chinooks, and even more lucky, the Chinooks have just not had success much in the league. So hopefully for the Bucs, they can capitalize on it. And it looks like we've got a little bit of something going on before the game. We'll see if someone maybe throwing out the first pitch. Love to see that here. The Chinooks in their home reds. That's a red top with Chinooks written across the chest in blue, outlined in white. The numbers on the front and back of those jerseys, both in blue, outlined in white, with those gray pants at home. It's a little bit interesting. Or maybe white pants. Seems like white pants and a little bit of a shade of gray, I would say. For the Bucs, they're going with their black tops, black jerseys, yellow lettering, Bucs written across the chest, outlined in white, and those gray traveling pants. And if I'm not mistaken, are they announcing the Chinooks first, or did I totally miss the Bucs getting announced? But I think the I think the Bucs have gotten announced and they're ready to go. So it looks like the Chinooks will head on the field, and they're going pretty quickly out there. So we'll head to a break pretty quickly to ourselves. Give you the national anthem here. We'll walk you right up to first pitch. Bucs first, the Chinooks.
Play announcer is heard on YouTube today. Anchorage's Clayton Jackson. And now joining us on the field is the president of the Chinook Booster Club, Al Clemens.
Good afternoon, Chinook fans and Chinook family. What a wonderful day for a ball game. Today, we are blessed once again with our wonderful national anthem singer. So please, we invite you now to stand, remove your headgear for the presentation of our national anthem. This afternoon, Cameron Hawkins not only has blessed us with this great day of sunshine and warm temperatures, but she will be singing our national anthem. Cameron.
Whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, o'er the ramparts we watched, were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets regular, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave for the land of the brave and the home of the brave.
Welcome back here. Just about a couple moments away from first pitch. Going to be Nolan Livesey out on the hill. I told you a little bit about him, and I'll tell you once again, Livesey out to make his 7th start. 6 out of his 7 appearances coming into this game have been starts, and oddly enough, his last time out was a non-start. And usually how it goes is guys will get their feet a little bit wet, come out of the bullpen before they start their first game, and of course some guys have to be the first starter to go out there, but like the Bucs, a couple of guys like Zan Rose, Garvey Rummery, Chad Gurney, all came out of the bullpen first and then proceeded to start as a starter. And I think for Livesey, he started as a starter, and then his last time out was just a whimsical relief appearance, and I don't believe that he will return as a reliever and will probably end this season as a starter. And if the Chinooks can make the playoffs, he will probably be a starter going into that first playoff series. But like we mentioned earlier, the standings not in a favor for the Chinooks making the playoffs as of right now. They're sitting 2.5 games behind the Glacier Pilots with three less losses and two more, or excuse me, three less wins and two more losses for the Chinooks. The Glacier Pilots 13 and 22, and the Chinooks 10 and 24, and they just have been tough sledding this whole season long. And ooh, the first pitch goes a little bit awry there, and a little 50-cent action almost. But hopefully, you might get some tips from Nolan Livesey after the game, and the Bucs are hoping that might be what they're going to see out of Livesey on the hill. Hopefully, for his sake, that's not what we see. But glad that he gets a picture with R.J. Rickabaugh. He seems like a nice guy over behind home plate and has to be nice with the home plate umpire standing right over top of him. So Livesey getting ready to go. A little bit of elongated start or walk up to this first pitch with Livesey not even getting started yet, but the infield and outfield are going to have plenty of reps and they'll be ready to go soon. And we still are waiting on our play ball, and we get it from a young fan. So I'm really happy that the Chinooks do that. First pitch and a play ball, and it looks like Livesey's ready to go. A lefty Livesey on the hill. We've talked about the Bucs having a heavy left-handed lineup almost every game, and this game really is no different. The bottom three, Vandegrift, Enyart, and Burns, are the only lefties in the lineup. Or excuse me, there are four lefties in the lineup. Josh Hankins leading it off is also, is also a righty. So Vandegrift, Enyart, Burns at the end of the order, and then go all the way back up to Josh Hankins. Those are your righties. So 4 out of the 9, and we saw that in one of the games yesterday, in one of the doubleheader games. You saw 4 out of the 9 batters being right-handed, and I think the Bucs get tipped off a little bit and know that there's a lefty on the hill, so they tweak their lineup. I'm sure just a little bit, maybe adding Vandegrift in there instead of Peyton Knowles. Peyton Knowles, who has played second base a lot for this Bucs team, does not get the start in today's game. I'm just wondering if that's because he's the lefty bat and would have to face a lefty in Nolan Livesey. But he won't have to worry about that as Vandegrift gets the start, and we'll see if the splits affect these Bucs at all. And the last time out versus Livesey gave up 1 run in just an inning and a third, so struggled there and gave up 3 runs against the Bucs in their 10-4 victory. But we'll see what he has in store today. Josh Hankins, Cole Carlone, Andrew Lamb due up in the first inning, and here with the play-by-play is Will Hopkins.
Thanks for setting the table, Vic. Like you said, Hankins, Carlone, and Lamb, and interesting with the mix of righty and lefties that they're not really mixed. It's Hankins and then 5 lefties and then 3 righties, which would feed right back into Hankins. So just 4 and 5 kind of in a row once the game gets going. And the game is just about to get going. Livesey fires, and Hankins rolls this one to Zulaika at third. 1 pitch, 1 out, and a good start for Livesey. Like I said, Zulaika over there at third base. Next to him at short, Oliver Dagenhart, Keaton Laidley at second base, and Jacob Hayes at first. Brady Groves, Jaden Hill, and Sam Kwapnoski across the outfield from left to right. And R.J. Rickabaugh catching for Livesey. Nolan Livesey, 6'2", 185, the lefty out of Metro State University in Denver. And he misses outside to Carlone. And I'm a little nervous back here. I feel like we thought this the first time we were here. The players can probably hear us. We're right in the action, and we hope you enjoy the view you have as Carlone gives us a good view of a ground ball up the middle.
Yep, doing his job right there. And I know it's just the first base hit for the Bucs and first lefty base hit, but it doesn't seem like the splits have really hurt the Bucs at all this season. It's not something they really worry about, I would say. And right there, it didn't affect Carlone one bit.
A really beautiful day here. Game time temperature 62 degrees. First pitch around 4:06 Alaska time, and the backdrop just gorgeous. And the color of the turf here at Lee Jordan Field, a nice vibrant green. Another lefty as Lamb comes up empty on that pitch, low and away. Just like Mulcahy Stadium, infield entirely made of turf, including the dirt, and then outfield natural grass, 400 to center and 325 down the lines. Lamb swings again, fouls it back.
Bucs a little antsy here. Hankins swinging on the first pitch, Carlone second pitch, and Andrew Lamb swinging on back-to-back pitches here.
Yep, just one take so far for the Bucs, and it was a ball outside to Cole Carlone. Chinooks coming in at 10 and 24. Bucs almost the complete opposite, 23 and 10. And with those records, these teams at opposite points in the ABL standings. Bucs in first, Chinooks in fifth. The Bucs with a 2-game lead over the Miners in first place. For the Chinooks, they're 2.5 games back of the Pilots for that fourth and final playoff spot. No balls and 2 strikes to Andrew Lamb. He wisely doesn't offer at the pitch outside. For the Bucs, a win today would clinch a top 2 seed and home field in the first round of the playoffs. Both rounds 2 out of 3. One plays 4, 2 plays 3, and then the winners play 3 games at the higher seeds home field. 1-2. And that didn't miss by much.
Nope, but a really good take by Lamb. He's got a really disciplined eye. Drawing 17 walks this season. That is almost the most. Peyton Knowles has 20, though.
And Lamb, the doubles machine, not surprisingly, 2 for 4 with 2 doubles against Livesey. That's with stats from this past Tuesday and July 9th. He takes one in the dirt. Carlone's going to have a chance to go to second base, and he takes full advantage of the wild pitch from Livesey.
Yep, Carlone, you don't need that ball to get too far away from the catcher. He's going to take advantage, and that one got way too far away, and you got to be careful sometimes. If you don't get to it quick enough, Carlone might snag an extra bag on you.
Definitely could. Got to always keep your eye on him on the pass. Hankins, Carlone, and Lamb, the only 3 in the Bucs lineup that have faced Livesey on 2 different days, both the 9th and the 23rd. 3-2 pitch, and that misses. Great job by Andrew Lamb to have a patient approach at the plate. Fell behind 0-2 and didn't matter. He still ends up at first base.
Yeah, him and Peyton Knowles really go back to back when it comes to having a disciplined eye, and both in the left-handed batter's box. They just see the ball so well, and you could tell Lamb seeing that last one out of the chute for Livesey, and it was just a fastball, saw the spin, and saw was living upstairs and knew it wouldn't drop down.
So now Ryan Callahan, he had a huge game 2 yesterday. Really impressive stuff. He had a triple, which unfortunately did not play to run, but we were talking after the game. That was in the 4th inning. The first runs for the Bucs came in the 5th and 6th. We felt like that kind of opened the door to show the Bucs what they could do to come back from that 2-0 deficit against the Pilots. Way upstairs from from Livesey. But going back to yesterday, game 2, Callahan 2 for 3 with an RBI and a run scored. Also walked. Just a really good day for him at the plate. That triple, his first extra base hit of the season. Carlone at second, Lamb at first. One away in the top of the first. And that's dribbled foul by Callahan.
And that gap shot that he had for the triple was just hit on an absolute line. And talking about a guy who also hits a lot, or who does hit a lot of extra base hits, is Andrew Lamb. And it seems like all of his balls get super high up into the air, and he just drives it straight to the wall. He hit that on the line, split the gap, and that baby traveled all the way to the wall, and it was a triple, and a well-earned one at that.
Another foul ball, so now 2-2, and yeah, it was well-earned, and he was pretty pumped up about it, revving the engine to the Bucs dugout. We usually see home teams in baseball, not all the time, but on the first base dugout. Obviously, things different with Mulcahy being a shared stadium, but here the Chinooks have the third base dugout, so the Bucs on the first base side. They'll have to be careful with the righty Callahan up, or lefty, excuse me, as he just barely gets a piece of that one.
Yeah, traditional dugouts with the fence fully enclosing it.
Little League style.
Yeah, really.
And for the Chinooks, like we mentioned in the open, 3 straight losses, no runs in any of them. So a team that's really spiraling, trying to get things together with about a week left in this regular season. And for them, it's really now or never. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Callahan goes the other way with it and dumps it into left field for a base hit. A late stop sign for Cole Carlone, and probably luckily so, a good throw from Brady Groves over there.
Yeah, a really good stop sign. Carlone, no matter what, had to wait for it to get down. I think Sanagorski wanted Carlone to start revving the engines a little bit earlier, but if you're Carlone, you really don't want to test it. And from my view, I was saying that ball was getting down 100%, but Carlone at second base, you just don't want to chance that. You don't want to be doubled up and in this inning where you have a huge threat. So I understand Carlone having to wait up, and Sanagorski, a good decision, pulling that late stop sign.
So now Brody Briggs to the plate, up to 274 this year with 10 RBIs, has a chance to add to that total here. Bases full of Bucs in the first inning. And Livesey, after really pounding the zone to Hankins and Carlone, And even the beginning of the at-bat to Lamb, struggling a little bit more with his command now. Even count of 8 balls and 8 strikes in his 16 pitches. And a 1-0 count to the Bucs catcher Brody Briggs, who takes one low. Nowhere to put Briggs. Callahan at first, Lamb at second, Carlone at third.
Yeah, maybe if it's 2 outs and Sanagorski doesn't have a good feeling about scoring runs this inning, maybe you send Carlone, but with 1 out and a huge opportunity here, really good decision to hold him up, and now Brody Briggs a prime opportunity.
Great count, and he lines this past the diving Dagenhart for a base hit. Scores 1 run. Everyone else will hold up 1 base further, but it's an RBI single for Brody Briggs, and the Bucs are on the board in the opening frame.
Yep, and that's why you do it. Carlone scores with ease, no chance at taking a risk, and now if you had sent him, it'd be the same situation right now.
Brody Briggs was the first batter in this game who hadn't faced Livesey before. The top 4 all faced him on Tuesday, and the top 3 had faced him on the 9th. Didn't seem to be much of a problem. Same thing for Max Ross, hasn't faced Livesey as he takes a strike. Ross really been hitting the ball hard the last few games. Already 1 so far in the first for the Bucs. Looking for more. Still just 1 away, and the bases are still loaded as Ross takes that 1 low. Good stop by Rickabaugh.
Yeah, and then Livesey's got to be careful because Max Ross is another one of these Bucs batters that has a really disciplined eye, and he is not going to be chasing crazy pitches and will likely put up a really good fight against Livesey, who's going to have to earn this out.
He certainly is going to have to earn it. Even count to the Bucs center fielder, who takes high. Good job to hold up there.
Yeah, that's such a tough pitch to hold up on. I mean, we're so close to it. It looks like a ball you could pull the trigger on, but really when you see it enter Rickaball's glove, you could tell how much above the strike zone it is, and it's such a tough pitch to hit and a really even harder pitch to lay off. So good job by Ross, and hopefully he can find something he likes.
Didn't like that one, but the home plate umpire did. Now an even count to Max Ross with Rob Vandegrift waiting on deck. He had a good day yesterday, playing in both games. But first, Max Ross. 2-2 from the lefty. Strike 3 called.
Yeah, he doesn't like that call. Thought it was a little bit on the outside part of the plate.
Coming to the plate for the Bucs.
Looked like a breaking ball on the outside corner that I guess Ross thought was breaking enough that it would leave the zone. Instead, just catching that outside corner. Now 2 away. Still a good chance for the Bucs to add to this 1 run in the first inning. Bases still loaded. Lamb at third, Callahan at second, Briggs at first. Rob Vandegrift at the plate. Swings at the first pitch and misses every stitch of it for Vandegrift. It was 1 hit in 2 at-bats yesterday.
2 for 3 in the game 1. Drove in 2 runs and scored 2 runs as well. Great first game for him, and then also a really productive second game.
Yep, had a sac fly in game 1. He takes 1 low. Another good stop by Rickabaugh. Lamb, a smart base runner over there at third.
Big opportunity here. 2 down, bases still juiced, and just 1 run has come across. Bucs have struggled leaving runners on a lot. Something you don't want to do here in the first inning. It might be your best opportunity off Livesey.
1-1 breaker, and had Vandegrift out in front for the second time this at-bat, and now Livesey a strike away from getting out of this with just 1 run surrendered, which given the circumstances would definitely be a win for him and the Chinooks.
100%. It's a tough Bucs lineup, especially the top half. Getting just out of the inning with just 1 run is really important.
High in the air to right field, a late break for the right fielder Kwapnoski, but he does get there in time. Bucs get 1 in the first, but leave the bases loaded. We head to the bottom half with Eli Lipinski set to take the mound. throw down to second from Brody Briggs, and we're ready to see Eli Lipinski out on the mound for the Bucs, making his first start in league play. Did start a game on July 4th. That was game 2. Went 4 innings, giving up just 1 unearned run. Really good stuff from him, and let's see if he can build on that here. He's been pitching more lately after that rest, coming back a little bit too soon from July 4th, but over the last couple weeks since then, has been really playing some good ball as he faces Cade Smith, and he rolls over the first pitch. Will Burns an early chance, and he handles it with ease. Both teams grounding out on the first pitch of the game that they see at the plate. Burns at short, making that play. Hankins is at third, Vandergrift is at second, and Callahan's at first. Andrew Lamb's in right, Max Ross is in center, Adam Enyart is in left, and Brody Briggs is behind the plate. Eli Lipinski, the righty, 6', 190, out of Anchorage, Alaska. Diamond High School, not too far from here. Definitely closer to Mulcahy Stadium, though. Still not pitching too far from home, as the catcher Rickaball fouls off the first pitch. Lipinski playing his college ball at Paradise Valley Community College in Phoenix. Not too much wind to speak of in that, with that American flag in left center field. Another pitch to the left-handed hitting catcher Rickaball. Up and away. A lot of left-handed hitting catchers in the ABL.
Yeah, tons. Briggs, Rickaball. Believe Barico is
Barajas.
Barajas is, yes, but he normally is a DH, but he is listed as a catcher.
Swing and a miss. Good pitch from Lipinski.
Love to see Lipinski just be super efficient here. Not the biggest strikeout pitcher, does have that stuff, but want to see him get ground balls, fly balls.
Does have a chance for a strikeout here, though. 1 ball, 2 strikes, looking for that inside corner. Rickaball shakes his head at it. But like you said, not the biggest strikeout guy. Definitely does have that ability. The biggest thing for him is really limiting the walks. 1 walk in 7 1/3 innings so far this season. You know that makes Coach Montez, Coach Springman and company quite happy. 2-2 breaking ball. Tried to drop it in upstairs. Didn't get the call. Like the idea, though, from Lipinski trying to freeze Rickaball. But now going to have to deal with a full count. 3 balls, 2 strikes, 1 out. Too far inside.
Yeah, it seemed like he was trying to be a little too perfect in that at bat. Was barely missing his spot, but you just can't try to be too perfect around some of these batters. They're going to make you pay. Hopefully, he'll get on the same page with Briggs and realize that not every pitch has to be perfect. It just has to know who he's facing up against. And here's a guy in Jacob Hayes who has got a lot of power.
Definitely does have a lot of power, but with it comes a lot of strikeouts. 21 this season. That walk from Rickaball, breaking a tie with Dagenhart for the team lead. That's now 14 for Rickaball. First pitch strike to Jacob Hayes. For Hayes, 4 doubles so far this season. As Lipinski brings in 0-1, smacked foul down the third base line.
Yeah, just out in front of that one. Should scare Lipinski, though. Now he knows probably that bat is really sped up, and if I'm him, I'm going back to that, or not going back to that same pitch, because you know he's going to try to slow that bat down a little bit.
6'5", 220 for Jacob Hayes. You'd think he'd have more than just the 4 doubles in terms of the extra pace department, but that's it. No balls, 2 strikes to him. Another ground ball foul.
Yeah,
this one not as loud of contact, though.
Yeah, he's early on that breaking ball, too, but that was almost a cookie left over the plate by Lipinski. He's lucky that Jacob Hayes was just a tad bit early on it. Now he's just got to be careful, because even though he's ahead 0-2, still don't want to leave one over the plate.
Lipinski looking for the second out of the first inning. Bucs leading it 1-0, and that pitch is high and tight.
I like that approach, though. Now it sets up the outside part of the plate. And here, if I'm Lipinski, I wouldn't waste a pitch. I'd actually try to nail something on the outside part. Let Briggs stick it. Maybe try to get Hayes frozen.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Foul tipped into the mid. There's strikeout number 1 for Eli Lipinski. Now 2 away in the first.
Great job. Didn't go on the outside part of the plate like I thought, but did challenge him like I expected. And that pitch was really close to being a called strike if he didn't swing at it. I think it was just a bit above the zone, but a really good pitch by Lipinski, and I'd love to see him challenging these hitters, especially a guy like Hayes who strikes out a lot.
Yep, this whole team strikes out a lot, does the Chinooks. Third in the ABL, excuse me. But 232 strikeouts, a high number. Ball here to Zulaika, who comes into play leading the Chinooks in batting average, sitting at 262. One ball, no strikes with RJ Rickaball at first base and Louis Zulaika at the plate. He ropes this one foul down the third base line. And some of these swings from the Chinooks are a little bit scary, but a little early on these pitches from Lipinski.
Yeah, and I think it's just early on in the game. The Chinooks haven't really settled in, and I don't know if they just haven't really timed up Lipinski. Well, I haven't seen him many times, and he hasn't pitched many times in this summer in league play. So for Lipinski, I would just recognize what pitches they're early on, what pitches they're hammering, and try to vary when he throws them a little bit, and maybe lay off of throwing it a little bit.
Even count. And a grounder to Will Burns. He's going to go the short way to Vandergrift at second. And Lipinski works around the one-out walk. RJ Rickaball left stranded. We head to the second with the Bucs still leading.
One man left on base.
Seven Bucs coming to the plate in the first inning means the 8-hole hitter, Adam Enyart, will lead things off in the second. One run for the Bucs, but 3 left stranded. Bases loaded when Vandergrift was retired. Hopefully that doesn't come back to bite the Bucs. First pitch just a little bit low from Livesey, and Enyart pitched and played the field yesterday. Won in each of those 2 games. Playing the field again today in left field. For Enyart, hasn't been hitting as much as he was earlier in the season, but those opportunities coming back now with some double headers and a lot of games and not a lot of time.
Yeah, Enyart definitely someone who wants to get that average up a little bit, but like you said, has not hit that much this season in general.
Won't help the average, but will help the on-base percentage. A 4-pitch walk and a great start to this second inning for the Bucs.
Yep, sure is. Leadoff man on, and just got to capitalize now. Already 3 men left on base. That's the most you could have in a single inning, so just want to clean that up a little bit.
Brings the 9-hole hitter, Will Burns, sorry.
I think he's not wearing an undershirt, which I've always seen Burns wear. Burns is an everyday player. That one's in the dirt, but something threw me off about his
black
jersey.
long sleeve usually.
Yeah, usually black long sleeve, and maybe just something to try to break out of his funk a little bit. It is hotter than usual, so maybe it's just for the degrees, but
well, we know he's a superstitious guy.
Yeah.
In our superstitions video that you can see on our Instagram
I don't know if
page.
we should bring that up again, should we?
Yeah,
probably
we
should.
asked him what his biggest baseball superstition is. He said not changing his underwear. He did exaggerate how long he'll go without, or not changing, but not washing his underwear. He did exaggerate how long he'll go without washing it, but definitely if he has 2-3 good games in a row, it's he's rocking the same pair. So wouldn't be surprised if that sleeve change was a little bit superstitious. As he smokes this one into left center field, and that's in the gap for extra bases. Enyart rounding. He's headed for third and into second with a stand-up double. Will Burns, no sleeves, no problem.
Yep. Hey, maybe it works. It's funny. I noticed it right off the bat, and maybe Burns will go with the sleeveless or no sleeves under the jersey for the remainder of this season. That's got to feel good, Will. He's sprinkled in a couple of base hits here and there during this big slump of his, but that double, that's a pitch, that's an at-bat right there that really could break him out of his funk completely.
Had an RBI triple in game 1 yesterday. Didn't start game 2, but did come in as a defensive replacement in the 6th and penultimate inning with that 7-inning doubleheader as Josh Hankins grounds the first pitch foul.
And I will say that triple was off the one of the position players, correct? At the later end of the game?
You may be right, yes. So this double probably meaning a little bit more than that triple.
And you know that obviously that triple's got to feel good for Burns, but not even in the back of his head, in the front of his head, he knows that that's off a position player and maybe got a little gift. But Livesey is a certified starter in this league, so it's got to feel really good to hit that ball in the gap like that, and that is the best way you can hit a double, hitting it on the line and splitting those two outfielders.
1 ball, 1 strike to Josh Hankins. Second and third, nobody out. Fisted over to the second baseman, Laidley. He goes to first, but the Bucs get a run as it's an RBI grind out for Josh Hankins, scoring Adam Enyart. So second consecutive inning with a run scoring for the Bucs as Josh Hankins picks up the RBI.
Batting for the Bucs, number 23, Cole Carlin.
And for Josh Hankins, that brings his season total up to 12 runs batted in. So many Bucs in that 10 to 13 range. Just so many Bucs chipping in. Man, at the plate, Cole Carlin been one of the Bucs' biggest contributors, not only at the plate but on the mound. But it's definitely not a one-man show. Big swing and a miss from Carlin. Will Burns just 90 feet away. We know he's speedy. Carlin would love to get one in the air for a sac fly, but infield's not in, so another grounder to Laidley on the right side should get the job done. Instead, Carlin goes in the air, shallow left center field. It's going to drop. It's going to drop. Will Burns is going to score. It's a single for Cole Carlin. Jaden Hill, I believe, called everybody off, and the ball dropped right in front of him.
Yeah, and because he didn't get a piece of leather on that baseball and he had to sprint in a good bit, I'm going to go ahead and put it as a single, but it really could go either way.
And I know y'all are used to hearing that we normally say that the home team scores, but not sure the reason, but the Chinooks asked if we could score a few games here the last few times that we play here, and we said no problem, and manager Tim Cole showed his appreciation. So we're happy to help them out as Lamb lays down a beauty. Will it stay fair? No.
Oh, man, just barely missing the bag over there at third.
A few feet away from hitting that bag. Carlin would have been at second and Lamb would have been at first. Instead, Lamb will have to dig back in. But the Bucs taking advantage of some bad communication between Groves Hill and Dagenhart in shallow left center field. We know Carlin to be a guy that puts the ball in play and puts stress on a defense. Puts stress on an offense, too, when he's on the mound. 0-1 to Andrew Lamb. He takes a strike. He walked in the first inning. Takes a ball. One ball, 2 strikes. First to check on first base. One run in the first, 2 so far in the second for the Bucs. A Josh Hankins ground out and a Cole Carlin single. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Andrew Lamb and line back foul. So we'll do it again. with 1 ball and 2 strikes. Carlone at first base. Ryan Callahan waiting on deck. And they've got Carlone caught in between, and he's in a rundown now. Second baseman Laidley will apply the tag, and Carlone with a bit of a mistake on the base path there.
Yeah, just got caught up in between, and you see the Bucs, that happen a lot. Sometimes they are able to get out of it, but not that time.
So picked off 1, 3, 4, I believe. And now nobody on, and 2 away for Andrew Lamb. Count evens 2 and 2.
That's a sneaky move.
3-0. Bucs lead it. 5 hits already just here in the second inning. Livesey misfires to Lamb. And misfires again. Lamb works his second walk in as many plate appearances and gives Ryan Callahan a chance in the second inning.
What are you aiming at? Barnyard door?
Now batting for the Bucs, number 17, Ryan Callahan.
Here we go.
Callahan takes a strike.
Whoa.
Lamb at first, Callahan at the plate. Here comes the 0-1. Fisted and a soft liner at Louis Zulaika. The Bucs get 2 more in the second, make the lead 3-0 as we head to the bottom.
2 hits, 2 runs. 1 man left on base to score.
Back on the mound, Eli Lipinski now working with a 3-run lead as he faces the Chinooks for the second inning. Jaden Hill, Brady Grooves, and Oliver Dagenhart, and you know that Jaden Hill will be looking to make up for that mistake in center field. Not only on him, but he ended up being the closest to it, and that one must have slipped out of Lipinski's hand.
Yeah, definitely did. And going back to that play with Hill, it seemed like he had a beat on that ball, but I don't know if it was Groves out in left field, but someone was saying something. I think he was a little bit frustrated. I think that he just got a little bit confused with Groves and whose ball that would be, but it should be Jaden Hill's all day.
Center fielder, captain of the defense, I'd say, along with the shortstop, Oliver Dagenhart. In the end, neither of them nor Brady Groves able to get it done. 2 balls, no strikes. And that is hammered in the air to right field. Andrew Lamb on his horse to the wall, and that is over the wall. It's a home run for Jaden Hill to make it 3-1.
Well, it finally happened.
Talk about making up for a bit of a mistake in the outfield, huh?
Yeah, he sure did. That one just left over the plate by Lipinski, and Jaden Hill is really strong, and he's got some big old muscles there. Talk about a guy that could really fill out a uniform, and I mean that in the best way possible. He's just a big dude over there, and I am not surprised that he has a home run off the Bucs just with playing them 10 times. It's bound to happen, I feel like, with his stature and his gameplay.
Surprisingly, his first homer of the season, but just heard the PA announcer say it finally happened. Maybe some close calls here at Lee Jordan Field.
Has to be, Will. I'm surprised that you just said that was his first home run.
So Lipinski still with a 2-run lead, just needs to settle back in. Does a good job to fire a strike to Brady Groves. That's just the first hit from the Chinooks, obviously only here in the second inning, but based off today and their last few games, haven't shown great ability to string together a bunch of runs. So if you're Lipinski, keep firing strikes. He's done a good job of that so far. 1 walk so far for Lipinski, but that being the first hit. 1-1 fouled off, and just like that, Lipinski in a good spot, 1-2.
Yeah, just keep filling up the zone. Talked to Dew after the game, and he said that, well, my problem was I was just throwing too many strikes, and maybe for Lipinski that's the case. We've seen him get ahead of a lot of batters. To have a walk back in the first inning, but he's just throwing too many strikes to start this second.
Throws another strike here as that's lifted into right field toward the Bucs bullpen. Sliding effort from Andrew Lamb. Unfortunately, can't come up with it, but gotta love the hustle.
Yeah, great hustle and just a bit out of reach, but not by much.
The bullpen's here at Lee Jordan Field on the field. So when we see guys warming up, they'll need to have someone keeping an eye out for them.
And 325 to both foul poles, and that ball hit by Jaden Hill way past 325. 400 to dead center as well. But even with how hard that ball was mashed, it's not a no-doubter.
No doubt. There's a swing and a miss from Brady Groves. Eli Lipinski picks up strikeout number 2. What you were saying?
I was just saying that ball looked like it was absolutely mashed, and it was, but I wouldn't say it got more than 10 feet over the wall,
agree.
Even maybe 5 feet. And I'm not saying that it's a wall scraper, but these balls
it's so
hard to do it. And Jack Dorn really got a hold of that baseball the other day. And luckily the Pilots, that was their only really big hit.
Lipinski now facing Oliver Dagenhart, who takes upstairs, but I mean, we saw Lamb go all the way back to the wall, so he thought he had a chance at it, or that the ball had a chance of hitting that wall up until he got out there. But it was demolished. 1-0 way up and in, and that'll buzz the tower of Dagenhart. 2 balls, no strikes. 1 away here in the bottom of the second. Bucs leading the Chinooks 3-1. Just the second time here this season. As Lipinski brings the 2-1, beautiful fastball right on the outside corner. And talking about the first time these two teams played here, that was way back in the first week of the season. 12-7, the Bucs took it. Tell you a little bit more about that game in just a second here. 2 balls, 1 strike. Swing and a miss, the high cheese. Bucs were up 8-0 through 4.5. The Chinooks scored 2 in the 5th and 5 in the 6th to make it 8-7 before the Bucs scored 2 in the 7th, 1 in the 8th, and 1 in the 9th. 12-7 win, 27 hits between these two clubs. 2-2 is too high, as Lipinski was trying to get a similar swing to what Dagenhart produced just a pitch ago, but such a wild game and definitely one of the more memorable games of the season so far.
Yeah, really thought that the Bucs had that one won early, and the Chinooks stormed back, and luckily the Bucs bats put up a 12 spot.
Way up in the air, and I think that's over our heads. A bit of a limited view upwards. We're roofed here right behind home plate. But that was a game the Bucs kind of had to win twice.
Yeah, seriously.
Never gave up the lead, but did everything but that in terms of surrendering runs with the big lead. 3-2, swing and a miss. Lipinski picks up his 3rd strikeout, 2nd of the inning, and he's really bounced back since that Jaden Hill home run.
Yeah, and I'm honestly surprised Dagenhart was so behind on that fastball. I think the pitch previous was at off speed, because those ones at the top of the zone were all fastballs, and Dagenhart was just missing. I thought he would have timed it up, but Lipinski pulls the string and then goes with a fastball on the outside part of the plate, and Degenhart is just late.
So base is empty, 2 away for Sam Kwapnoski. He takes up and away. Kwapnoski hitting under 200 this season. He'll be looking to get that average up. This Chinooks team just struggling offensively this season. 209 as a team. Only team they're ahead of in that department is the Pilots, as Lipinski misses downstairs. And in terms of scoring runs, the Chinooks also second to last in the league in that department, with the only team below them also being the Pilots. 2-0 catches a corner. Now 2-1. Lipinski trying to face the 9th hitter Keaton Laidley to lead off the 3rd. 2 balls, 1 strike, 2 outs. Straight into the fence right in front of us.
And Lipinski's working really quickly here, and I would have thought that he'd slow down after that solo home run, but I like that he's keeping the same pace. I think that when a team hits a home run, especially in ABL play, game starts to speed up in a good way, and I think Lipinski just trying to get ahead of that.
Deuce is wild here in the bottom of the 2nd inning. And another foul ball off the bat of Kwapnoski, and I really like that he's pitching quickly. He's pitching like a guy who didn't just give up a home run, and that's what you want to see, especially with a lead that's still 2 runs. He really didn't let the home run hurt his confidence. You wouldn't know from seeing him pitch now compared to the first that he even gave one up. Another 2-2. I think I might have heard a grunt from Lipinski on that one.
Yeah, a little bit.
Tried to put a little extra on it. Missed up and away, so full count with 2 away and the base is empty.
Really got to get him here. There's something competitive.
Instead, it isn't. It's down and in. Kwapnoski takes his walk, 2nd walk for Lipinski, and he'll have to face Laidley this inning.
Yeah, I thought that one just barely missed. I'd like to see Lipinski be a little bit more aggressive, let his defense go to work. But obviously, probably still a little bit rattled after that home run and not wanting to leave something over the plate. I think Montez has just seen something while Lipinski was pitching and wants to have a word with him, and should be a productive conversation.
Yep, it looked like Josh Hankins was maybe trying to join the conversation, and Monty said, I'm all right with just Lipinski and Briggs. Either that or he waved off Briggs, and Briggs just decided to join anyways. But he waved someone off. Maybe just noticing something that Lipinski's doing. Monty been in the game a long time. A lot of times we see him talk to these pitchers, and pretty immediate success for them after the conversation. He leaves with a pat on the chest.
Yeah, and Montez always been a big pitching guy since he pitched out in Pepperdine back in the 80s, and I'm sure loves and misses going out to talk to pitchers at Ottawa U because he's the head coach. I'm assuming that he doesn't really do mound visits and really only comes out to take pitchers out, so I'm sure he loves doing that. We've seen Dunham do that a couple times with Monty having some injuries, but love seeing Monty going out there and talking to his pitchers.
So now Keaton Laidley with 1 on and 2 out, and he takes a strike. Good job by Lipinski.
And we haven't seen Monty come out to talk to pitchers at all that much because the pitchers have been so good, and the Bucs have just done a really good job. And I think as of late, maybe we've seen a little bit more just because the bats have been pretty quiet, but the pitchers have not been finding themselves in really tricky situations too often.
Yeah, and a lot of times when he's come out to the mound, it's meant your day is done.
Yeah, exactly. Most of the time he comes out, it's to take the ball out of the pitcher's hand.
Lipinski having to throw a few extra pitches here in the 2nd inning. Just misses downstairs.
Yeah, that zone is pretty tight. He's not getting the outside corner to righties, and he's not getting that lower half of the zone in general. Makes for a really tough outing if you're Lipinski. And I think just Montez or Phil Springman, someone wanting an answer of where that pitch was. The umpire saying it's down.
40 pitches now for Lipinski, whose 41st is bounced foul by Laidley. Now a strike away from finishing this bottom of the 2nd. Just the 1 run so far for the Chinooks, hoping to keep it that way. Yeah. Solo homer from Jaden Hill. Deuce is wild yet again. Kwapnoski at first, Laidley at the plate. Lipinski fires, and once again, Laidley grounds it foul.
And if Lipinski just keeps finding himself into a little bit of trouble each inning, the Bucs are going to have to pull them with the pitch count getting high. 40 pitches already now, and this is a game you'd love to have Gurney or Arnett be able to go because those are your two longer relievers, but of course they had to pitch in the doubleheader yesterday.
2-2 is inside. Runner was going. The throw down to second is just a bit late. Looked like a good throw and tag, but apparently not.
Yeah, I really thought they might have had him, even though the throw wasn't that good by Briggs. Seemed like Will Burns was able to make the tag.
So Kwapnowski into scoring position as Laidley awaits a full count offering. 3-2. And that's too far inside. We're seeing that tight zone. Pitch that Lipinski wanted. Brody Briggs out to have a quick chat with him. And after that home run, 2 consecutive strikeouts, it seemed like it was going to be easy going for Lipinski to finish up the second, but not to be. Back-to-back walks.
Yeah, I thought that he had figured things out a little bit, and unfortunately just can't seem to retire these last 2 Chinooks hitters and has to face the top half.
Cade Smith grounded out to Will Burns on the first pitch of the bottom of the first inning. Lipinski has worked himself into a little bit of a jam. 2 on, 2 out. Starts Cade Smith with a strike. Laidley at first, Kwapnowski at second. Both of them reaching via base on balls. And make it 0-2.
Yeah, you filled up the zone right here. If I'm Lipinski, knowing the last 2 batters and that they have walked, I'm not going to throw a waste pitch here. Really going to try to challenge Cade Smith, but you don't want to leave it over the plate. This is a really important pitch for Lipinski. Going for a foul ball or something put into play here, or swing and a miss.
Lipinski set, ready, and he brings it. Breaking ball. Looked like he was trying to bring it in the front door. Unfortunately, that door was closed.
And a good idea because Cade Smith was backing out of the way, and if he just snaps that curveball down a little bit more, he's got a frozen strikeout right there.
1 ball, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Throw back to first, and that's going to get past Ryan Callahan into right field towards the Bucs bullpen. Kwapnowski is getting a late stop sign at third base, and Bucs may be a little bit lucky that he got the stop sign.
Yeah, they are really lucky, and I'm kind of surprised Tim Cole did that. Thought he would have tried to test their luck a little bit, but no.
That'll go down as an error for Brody Briggs, advancing both runners 1 base. 2-2 count to Cade Smith. Deuces wild again. 2 in scoring position now. Obviously still early in this game, but Laidley at second base is the tying run. Bucs leading it 3-1. Lipinski trying to finish off Smith in the Chinooks in the second. Pulls this one outside, and now a ball away from loading up the bases.
Yeah, I don't know if he was going for the swing and miss and a chase. It kind of looked like he did. Or maybe just trying to freeze him outside part of the plate. Has got to make a really competitive pitch here.
3 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. 2 on for the Chinooks. The pitch from Lipinski off the end of the bat. Out of play on the right side.
And another long at bat, and the Bucs are probably going to, or they are already started getting a reliever up in the bullpen. That looks like Wyatt Halverson out there.
Yeah, I don't know if he's warming up to pitch or if he's just throwing a bullpen. Could be getting close to a limit of some sort, so maybe they'll use him out of the pen. Not sure. As Smith puts a swing on this one high in the air to left field. No problems over there for Adam Enyart. Lipinski finishing off the Chinooks in the second, but not until after a solo homer from Jaden Hill makes it 3-1.
Today's game brought to you by For the Bucs, number
Brody
5,
Briggs
Brody
digs in
Briggs.
after being in his crouch for quite some time in the bottom of the second. Only one run for the Chinooks, and with the amount that Nolan Livesey had to wait to come back out, I think you would have hoped for more than just that. First pitch swinging for Briggs on the ground to second base. Laidley makes the play in time. We've seen a good number of first pitch ground ball outs to start innings.
Love that hustle from Briggs. I think when Lately looked up, he was a little bit surprised to see Briggs running down the line that fast, but you and me both know that he has those wheels and does not run like a catcher.
So now Max Ross, he takes the first pitch strike. Struck out looking his first time to the plate. And we were talking to them in the break. Wyatt Halverson pitched 5 days ago. Haven't seen him out of the pen this season. So not sure if he's really warming up to pitch or if he's just fine-tuning some things. Be interested to see how the Bucs manage the rest of this game. Check swing from Ross, and the home plate umpire says he went around. Would have liked to see him go down to third.
Yeah, we don't have a third base umpire a lot of times, a strictly third base and first base umpire, so why not use them? That's my thing.
Max Ross says it doesn't matter, lines it into right field, and bobbled over there by Kwapnowski. He recovers quickly, though. Still a single for Max Ross.
Yep, made him pay.
Coming to the plate
Well,
for your
made the
Bucs.
umpire pay a little bit. I guess he
Number
doesn't really
3,
care
Rob
if Max
Vanderbilt.
Ross gets on base or doesn't get on base, but I'm sure Livesey is probably a little irritated. But Max Ross struck out looking at his first at-bat on a call he did not like, and we both didn't think that it was much in the zone, so good to see him get rewarded.
Rob Vandergrift now takes the ball after getting some signs from Coach Sanagorski at third base. See if Max Ross is up to anything over there at first. Going to be tougher with the lefty on the mound. Grounder over the head of that lefty, Livesey. Dagenhart gloves it, makes the quick throw over to first, but Max Ross does get into scoring position.
Yep, did your job, move the runner over. Basically counts as a sac bunt. So Ross in scoring position, another chance for the Bucs here.
At the plate for the Bucs,
3 straight
number
innings with
44,
runners in
Adam
scoring
Yelich.
position. Love to see that.
Definitely love to see that. The Bucs have been all over the base paths early on. 6 hits with that last one from Ross. Now Adam Enyart walked in his only plate appearance so far. Enyart came around to score on a Josh Hankins ground out. First pitch strike. Enyart burns and then back to the top, but 2 outs now in the top of the third. Max Ross, the speedster, in scoring position. 0-1 to Enyart. Swing and a miss. Looked a little bit uncomfortable with that breaker.
Yeah, definitely didn't seem comfortable. And a walk in his first at bat, so he was ahead of Livesey the whole time. Now Livesey way ahead of him.
Enyart was 0 for 3 when he faced Livesey back on July 9th. Looking for his first hit here today. 0-2 bouncer. Chance for the shortstop, Dagenhart, yet again. And he makes the play. So Max Ross left stranded the first 0. Put up by the Bucs as we head to the bottom half of the third inning.
3, the Chinooks
welcome back to Lee Jordan Field here in Chugiak. A little bit of a surprising pitching change on the mound for the Bucs.
Yeah, Wyatt Halverson, like we mentioned, is coming out of the bullpen, and he was the first pitcher to start a game for the Bucs all the way back on June 6th, and it's been a long time since then, but after that, he started 6 more games, so that's 7 appearances. All 7 appearances are starts, so this is his first time out of the bullpen, and he struggled 1-3, and despite having just a 3.54 ERA, 28 innings pitched, 26 hits given up, but just those 11 earned runs. He's been really good as of late after some rocky starts, I would say, in the later month of July and the earlier part of June, or later part of June and earlier part of July, but has looked better in his past couple of games, and hopefully coming out of the bullpen bodes well for him.
Yeah, and his record would be better if not for a lot of his starts going just 4 innings, partly due to pitch count, partly due to his high strikeout total. A little bit interested to see him coming out of the pen. We were talking about if maybe the Bucs were trying to line him up in a certain way for the playoffs as he misses to Rickenbaugh, but I was saying even if you only want to let him go a few innings, why would you just not have him start where he's probably more comfortable and Lipinski's also probably more comfortable coming out of the pen. So interesting, we'll see how it works out. That last start was just a few days ago, 5 days ago on Monday in the 2-0 win against the Oilers. Halverson, 4 innings, 3 hits, no runs, 9 strikeouts, and 2 walks.
My only guess is maybe that this is setting up Halverson to pitch for the first or second playoff game, which is a week from today. But like you said, could have just started him all along, but maybe wanted to just give Lipinski the starting reps. That one's a cold strike, but I can't begin to think why, because there's not many games left for Lipinski to start after this one, and considering you've got Garvey, Zan, Carlone, Halvey as your starters, why would you mess with that?
Yeah, definitely a little bit curious and would love to talk to Halverson or maybe Coach Springman after the game about what's going on. But for Halverson, he has faced off against the Chinooks in that wild 12-7 game here as he loses Rickenbaugh, first man he's seen here today. Went 5 innings, 3 hits, 2 earned runs, 7 strikeouts, and 2 walks in that 12-7 game. Got a ton of run support, obviously, with the Bucs scoring 8 runs in the first 5 innings. But yeah, we're both a little bit surprised. He's one of the last pitchers I'd ever expect to see come out of the bullpen.
And maybe the Bucs will just roll with Zan Rose, Garvey Rummery, Cole Carlone as their big 3-headed monster going into the playoffs, and maybe Halverson, with his innings limit coming up, will just be a bullpen piece.
Yeah, I would assume you'd need one more starter.
For back-to-back 3-game series, considering a lot of MLB teams now go with 3-headed monsters with just that 4th guy kind of helping out the cause too, but
just wouldn't expect the Bucs to try to push anything on short rest, especially when they have 4 pitchers that are so good. But we'll leave that be for now as Halverson gets ahead 0-2 to Jacob Hayes. For Lipinski, 2 innings, 1 hit. It was just the solo homer to Jaden Hill. 3 walks really what plagued him, and not something we've seen from him in ABL play coming in. Just 1 walk and 7 1/3. Also had 3 strikeouts. Ground ball foul down the third baseline with Hankins scrambling over there. Owen Hayes at the plate. Luis Zulaika on deck with the 2-hole batter, R.J. Rickenbaugh, the catcher, at first base after Halverson walked him. Check over at first of Rickenbaugh. And a throw over there. Rickenbaugh in safely. And for Rickenbaugh this season, just 2 stolen base attempts, 1 for 2. Catcher, not necessarily a track star over there at first, way up and in, and we have a pretty perfect view of that. That could not have been a very fun half second for Jacob Hayes.
Scary one.
See if maybe Halverson goes back inside, maybe just not quite as far, with Hayes maybe a little bit nervous to stay in there. Halverson does go inside, this time with a breaker, but just like the fastball, stays too far inside.
Yeah, you brushed him off the plate. Now you set up the outside part. I would not be surprised if he tries to nail one of those breaking balls and land it perfectly on the outside part of the plate.
2 balls, 2 strikes, no outs. 1 runner at first base. Halverson fires and jams Hayes in on the hands, right up in the air for Brody Briggs.
Yep, great job. Actually went back inside, which I kind of liked, but didn't go too far and made it actually hittable. And was able to get a fly ball off the fist of Jacob Hayes. That definitely doesn't feel good. Get buzz the tower at least 2 or 3 times and then have one that really stings the hands.
Yeah, way in on the hands for that one. Zuleika to the plate now. He grounded into a fielder's choice to end the first inning. Will Burns flipping to Rob Vandegrift. And this time Halverson has it. He goes to Burns. Great scoop by Burns and a transfer to make the throw. Low throw from Halverson to Burns, but the shortstop had no problems with it. 1-6-3 double play to end the third inning. We head to the fourth with the Bucs on top, 3-1. Will Burns on to lead things off for the fourth. And now for the play-by-play, here's Vic Maslia.
Thank you, Will. Burns in the 9 hole, so 9, 1, and 2, and he did go around on that one, so it'll be a swinging strike. Livesey's still out there. 3-1 ball game. Next pitch called strike on the outer half, and Burns quickly down 0-2.
For Burns, a beautiful play to field that throw from Halverson.
Yeah, big pick at second base and a swing and a miss. 3 pitches takes care of Will Burns. That sends us to the top of the order. Livesey just struggled through the first and second innings, but that last inning put up a 0 on the board and already has a first out here, might be settling in. So the Bucs really need to take advantage and try to get him to feel a little bit more uncomfortable as these later innings go on. First one skips up to the plate. Command was an issue for Livesey, but has settled in a little bit, at least the last frame. 1-0, Hankett squares to bunt. He gets it down. Going to be a tough play for Zuleika. The throw is just in time. What a play.
Barehanded. That was the only chance that Zuleika had, and that play was super difficult. He made it look so easy, though.
Hankins hitting it to his counterpart, and he's got some speed, but that was just an even better play by Zuleika. We've got a big crowd here, it sounds like, and I'm looking over at the third base side. It looks like there's a good bit of fans over here. They've got a really good fan base. Carlone digs in now, quickly 2 down. Could be Livesey's quickest inning. Still looking for that first 1-2-3. Max Ross's single last inning spoiled that. 1-0 off the end of the bat.
And why not come to the ballpark? An absolutely gorgeous Saturday afternoon.
Yeah, a little bit of cloud cover, but blue skies for the most part. 1-1. Excuse me, swinging. He went around. And you can really feel the home atmosphere after almost every pitch. That goes well for the Chinooks. You hear all those fans cheer. 1-2 misses.
Yeah, can even hear PA announcer giving his 2 cents, not on the mic, but
Deuce is wild. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 down. He fouls it away. We'll try again.
Carlone already a run scored and an RBI. Just keeps doing Cole Carlone things.
Sure does. His average is got to be past 330 now with those 2 base hits. Should be inching closer to 340, which is absolutely ridiculous.
Especially considering how few players are even over 300, and he's nowhere even close to 300. Way over it.
Full count pitch. A ground ball to first. Jacob Hayes has that. He'll step on the bag in a quick 1-2-3 inning. The first 1-2-3 for Nolan Livesey as he takes care of the Bucs. We head to the bottom half of the 4th inning. Bucs still lead at 3-1.
Today's game.
Welcome back. Due up first is Jaden Hill in a big at-bat because last time he was up, he went yaya mode on Eli Lipinski. A shot over the right field wall. The best thing about that was it was just a solo bomb, so just 1 run came across to score in that 2nd inning, but he faces Wyatt Howerson now. A big swing and miss at that one.
Looked like he was trying to replicate it.
A long swing, though, and that first one, the one that went over the wall, super short and quick, but man, he matches that ball hard. 0-1. Just a bit inside, a little low, too. Livesey with his first 1-2-3 frame. Came back in the top half of this inning. Looks a lot more comfortable after the first 2 innings. That one in the dirt from Wyatt Halverson. Like we mentioned, Halverson usually a starter. 7 appearances, all starts for this Bucs team. First starter in the first game. As Jaden Hill hits this foul and out of play, and we just expected that Halverson was going to be the go-to ace pitcher for this Bucs team, and not that he's done bad at all. He's got a 3.54 ERA, and he's actually pitched a lot better as of late, but he is 1-3 and the only starter to have more than 1 loss. So I think that's a little bit interesting because, given that Arizona State, that he's the first pitcher to pitch for the Bucs, we thought that he might be the go-to guy. But Zan Rose with a 1.04 ERA, Garvey Rummery with a .32, and Cole Carlone also in the conversation with a 2.42 ERA. 3-2 misses up and away. Halverson another walk, this time a leadoff walk to Jaden Hill.
Yeah, for Halverson, ERA hasn't been an issue. Huge strikeout guy. When he made his last start, he was leading the league in that category. Not sure if it's still the case or not, but like you said, not the top starter for this team, not because of him, just because of some ridiculous pitching by other guys. He's done more than his part, and like I said, that record really unfortunate. He's had a lot of good games where he's only gone 4 innings, just not trying to get that pitch count too high.
Yep, and that takes him out of the conversation for a win, but technically doesn't take him out of conversation for a loss.
Yeah, that's the problem.
So back-to-back leadoff walks for Wyatt Halverson. Last inning to R.J. Rickball, this inning to Jaden Hill. And squaring around is Brady Groves. Pulls it back. That's a ball. Briggs faking the throw down to first.
And that-
Oh, excuse me, you were saying.
Those 48 strikeouts, best in the league by 11.
Wow. Big margin between him and Golko, who is a pitcher on the Chinooks.
Yep, tied with Hostetler from the minors with 37.
So 2 balls, no strikes. Halverson trying to fill up the zone and maybe get a ground ball here as he checks back over to first. Jaden Hill in there safely. I just can't get over the view. Honestly, it looks a little bit better on the screen for the viewers, I have to say, Will. I don't know why.
It does. It looks fake, in
It
all
really
honesty.
does.
It looks like a green screen sky. The grass on this turf is too green to be real. But we're
Literally.
here. It's real. And it's just a beautiful backdrop. I love seeing the cloud shadows on
Yeah.
the mountains and in right field.
And you
can
can
see
clearly
that.
see that.
Yeah.
Everyone at home can clearly see that, yeah. 3-0 quickly. Halverson, trouble with command. He fires a strike. A good get-back pitch for Wyatt. Wish the stream was a little bit less finicky for you guys at home with this great view. We're just struggling out here in Chugiak with our service and everything. 3-1, another called strike. Halverson taking advantage of Groves keeping the bat on his shoulders with a 3-0 count. Count runs full now. 3 balls, 2 strikes. See what Halverson's got. Jaden Hill goes as this one's fouled back. He'll have to come back.
And for Halverson, with these walks and 3-ball counts, 13 walks on the season, and considering how much he's pitched, not a bad number at all, under 2 per start. But so far, hasn't had his sharpest command. Maybe coming out of the bullpen affecting him a little bit in that department.
3 balls, 2 strikes. The pitch swung on and missed. Halverson comes all the way back after 3 straight balls and gets 4 straight strikes, including that foul ball.
Great job by Halverson. We know he's a strikeout guy, and showing Brady Groves a little something about that there.
So that will bring up Oliver Dagenhart. First pitch he sees, called strike. Halverson popping the mitt nicely.
With this view, you can really tell how short of time these batters have to react, especially with the Halverson fastball.
0.4 seconds. That one just misses. I believe it's 0.4 seconds you have to diagnose the pitch from when it comes out of the pitcher's hand. And to diagnose it, decide if you're going to swing, bring your hands through, and hopefully find the ball with the barrel. So not a lot of time at all, and we get a first-hand view of that. And my years of playing, I definitely had a little bit more than 0.4 seconds, I would think. But this is big league ball, or close to it. 1 ball, 1 strike. Halverson in need of a ground ball. That one is up and in.
And the 0.4 is hard enough as is, and then you add on, you don't know where the pitch is going to be located. You don't know how the pitch is going to move. You don't know how fast the pitch is going to be. Definitely makes hitting a baseball one of the hardest things to do in all of sports.
Correction, the hardest thing to do in sports. Nice stand on that. 2-1. Swung on and miss, and Dagenhart shows you that I'm right.
Thanks to Wyatt Halverson throwing a mean fastball right by him.
Evens the count, 2 balls, 2 strikes. Righty comes set at the belt. Little look at Hill, who goes. The pitch is downstairs. The throw by Briggs is not in time, but a really good throw by Briggs, who putting his hands up like, I can't throw it any better, and looked like Hill almost slid into the glove of Rob Vandergrift, but I think that throw just a little bit tardy.
Yeah, and the throw by Briggs, 1 hop, and if it weren't for Burns, I think that it's hitting second base, in all honesty, on the second hop. Just a perfect throw right on the base.
3 balls, 2 strikes. Another full count for these Chinooks hitters. See if Halverson can have the same success as he did with Groves. Taking his time on the mound. Now the delivery swung on and missed. And Dagenhart probably wishing he had called time and during that at bat. A long wait at the hill for Wyatt Howerson with back-to-back swinging strikeouts. And here's an opportunity for Howerson
Now batting,
to get through this batter in Sam Kwapnowski, because this is the same exact struggle that Lipinski had back in the second inning. Jaden Hill obviously hit a home run in that second inning, but here a walk, back-to-back strikeouts of Groves and Dagenhart struggle to get through these bottom two hitters. First pitch to Kwapnowski misses and ended up just being the solo home run that came around to score for the Chinooks, but Lipinski did have to waste a bunch of pitches on Kwapnowski and Laidley back in the second before he finally got Cade Smith to fly out. Howerson hoping for a different outcome. Seems a little bit frustrated after those first two balls.
Yeah, for Kwapnowski and Laidley, they both walked and then advanced to second and third, respectively, on the error from Brody Briggs trying to catch Laidley at first base.
2 balls, no strikes. Howerson struggling to get ahead, but he's done a really good job of getting back in accounts, and here he starts 2 now. 2 balls, 1 strike.
Yeah, when things aren't going well for Halverson, really settles back in and relies on the strikeout stuff that he has, just further extending his lead at the top of the league, 50 now.
2 balls, 1 strike, 2 down. Halverson taking a look at Hill. Now the delivery in the dirt. 3 balls, 1 strike. Throws back to second, but Jaden Hill in there safely. Did catch him off guard. Kind of looked up and saw that ball go into second, but wasn't creeping off too far. Briggs not afraid to throw down to second after that error down to first base. Almost resulted in a run. I think if the Chinooks can't scratch across another run, they might be wishing they'd sent that runner. 3-1 misses outside, and that's going to prompt a mound visit for Briggs.
and that Chinook one.
Yeah,
Sponsored by Trustworthy Hire
Not the
and
best
Equipment, your
command
home
from
team
Halverson, not really
hardware
used to
store. Coming
seeing
play
this.
for your Chinooks.
Usually a pretty good
Number
strike thrower. The only reason his pitch count usually gets high is because he's a strikeout guy. The
Yeah.
batters can't put the ball in play, and so far that's been the case for him again today. In terms of batters not putting the ball in play, no hits for these Chinooks, and a couple of the outs for the pitcher Halverson coming via strikeout. So it's the same story, but just a little bit of an alternate version here with him struggling with his command.
Well, also the 2 balls that have been hit into play, one was just a weak comebacker to Halverson, and then the other one was just a pop fly into foul territory that Briggs caught. So really no solid contact from the Chinooks off of Halverson, and it's really all these ABL teams struggling to hit off of Halverson, and that's why that his pitch count can get up there, not because of base hits left and right, but because the strikeout sometimes takes some extra pitches and definitely has some issues sometimes with his command. Today is one of those days. 3 walks already in just his first 2 frames. So Keaton Laidley, who walked back in the second inning, that was a part of that back-to-back walks from Lipinski. Halverson going to get another sign from Brody Briggs. 2 down.
Looks like Brett Castillo warming up in the bullpen.
Man, all bets are off for what we're going to see next out of the bullpen. If you see Halverson and now Brett Castillo in a 2-run game, that one's low and in. And no shade to Castillo, he just hasn't gotten the call much at all and doesn't really have many innings to his name. Would be surprised to see him come out of the bullpen. But of course, the Bucs have a ton of games upcoming and really have to be sparing of who they use out of the bullpen. 4 innings for Castillo this whole season in league play. 1-0 misses up and away.
But if Halverson continues to struggle to find the zone, then the staff's going to have no other option but then to turn to somebody else.
Chinooks cannot be taken lightly despite their struggles this season. Still in a playoff hunt and need to win games desperately. 2-0, swing and a miss. A little surprise. Laidley told himself he had the green light there with Halverson's command struggles, but that one was right down Broadway.
Yeah, just Halverson saying, here's my fastball, see if you can hit it. And honestly, the way that he's struggled to locate, it's not a bad strategy because more often than not this season, the teams have not been able to hit it.
See if he goes back to it, 2-1. He does. Another called strike. So back-to-back fastballs, one swinging and one looking. Probably can expect that Laidley is expecting a fastball down the chute. You got to be careful if you're Halverson, because he's got the velo. If Laidley gets a hold of one, he doesn't really have to hit it super hard. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 out. Deuce is wild. Halverson trying to end this fourth, and he does. A swing and a miss out of Keaton Laidley, and Wyatt Halverson gets himself out of a little bit of a jam. He strands Jaden Hill and Sam Kwapnoski on the base pass as we head to the 5th inning. Still a 3-1 lead for the Bucs when we come back. Welcome back into the 5th inning. Andrew Lamb leads off the Bucs here. Good job by Halverson to get out of that little bit of a jam. Lamb has walked in both of his plate appearances. Trying to tie Peyton Knowles with his 20 walks, and he hits this on the ground towards the second baseman Laidley. He fields and throws for out number 1. One pitch takes care of Andrew Lamb.
If I'm not mistaken, 4th time we've seen a ground ball out on the first pitch of an inning.
Lamb just 1 walk away from tying Peyton Knowles' 20. Both of them duking it out for the leader in walks, and both of them also with really high on-base percentages.
Makes sense.
Ryan Callahan at the dish. That one's upstairs. 402 OBP for Andrew Lamb and a 420 for Peyton Knowles. Ridiculous. Next one's a called strike. Callahan, a single back in the first and a line out in the second. That's his line so far. 1 ball, 1 strike. The pitch is in the dirt. Next one's fouled away. Bucs just second game out here in Chugiak. Really interesting to play all these games here late in the season now as that one is inside. We were supposed to play here a week ago, but that got rained out, and it's now a doubleheader.
Doubleheader on Wednesday. Game on Monday at 6 o'clock.
Callahan hits this one to Laidley. Another chance for the second baseman, who fields it cleanly and delivers the second out.
Yeah, Bucs bats quiet so far this inning. We know Brody Briggs is capable of changing that, though.
4 ground ball outs to Keaton Laidley at second. A couple to Louis Zulaika at third, and then seems like the rest have been to Degenhardt, of course, at short. A lot of balls on the ground for the Bucs so far. Brody Briggs trying to change that as he takes that one downstairs. A single back in the first inning, and then a ground ball to Keaton Laidley, of course, in the third. This is hit opposite field towards left. Brady Groves shades over towards the line. A diving grab, and he's got it. What a grab by Brady Groves. That ball just kept tailing further and further away, but he stuck with it. And he puts the finishing touches on this top of the 5th inning. And Nolan Livesey once again a 1-2-3 inning. The Bucs struggling to get him out of his funk. We'll see what Wyatt Halverson has in store for us as we head to the bottom half of this 5th. Vic Maslia, Will Hopkins here at Lee Jordan Field out in Chugiak-Eagle River versus the Chinooks, a 3-1 lead for the Bucs. Newly onto the hill is Brett Castillo. I mentioned he just has 4 innings coming into this game, 2 appearances, no wins or losses, both of them coming out of the bullpen. 4 innings pitched, just 1 hit, no runs. So in 4 innings, been very sharp.
And both those appearances coming against the Chinooks, pitched on Monday, finishing up the 9th inning. A non-save situation as he fires outside to Cade Smith, worked the 9th, had a strikeout, and then went 3 innings back on July 9th. 1 hit, 2 walks, 1 strikeout.
This is hit to center field. Max Ross sprinting in, and that's over his head, and it's going to go to the wall. Sprinting into second base, and now turning on the Jets is Cade Smith. Here comes the throw to third. It's in time. They got him. What a throw, what a relay, and the Bucs get him at third base. Cade Smith thought he had a triple, but the Bucs take it away. Was that Will Burns out there again?
That was Will Burns out there again. Not as recognizable as usual without those sleeves under the jersey, but Max Ross breaking in on that ball before going back out, immediately making up for the mistake by firing a perfect throw to Will Burns, who then fired a perfect throw to Josh Hankins, applying the tag just in time.
So a big first out. And like I said, Max Ross initially sprinting in, and that ball quickly went over his head. And I can't really blame him. I thought that ball was going to get down in front of him potentially. As now Rickaball hits this to left field, and playing it on a hop is Adam Inyard, wisely so. That ball kept spinning down, and back-to-back really good pieces of hitting from the Chinooks team, but the Bucs doing a good job, at least on the first attempt, to get that ball in.
And if you're Cade Smith, I just don't think it's necessary to go to third there. There's nobody out. You're going to have plenty of opportunities for your guys to move you over, and you're really hurting your team by, I mean, obviously not only his call, got to look at the third base coach, but I don't know, it just seems like a risky decision.
That's a called strike to Jacob Hayes. And just what a relay. Will Burns a great throw, but Max Ross hustling to get to it. You know, that ball goes over your head, and I feel like a lot of outfielders, especially with 400 dead center, not that they would jog to go get that ball, but maybe don't put their best throw on it, just thinking that it probably got an easy triple, but Cade Smith, not the case. Castillo misses with the breaking ball. Castillo's a guy that, like I said, mostly is a hitter for this Bucs team. Actually had a really good first game in that doubleheader. Drove in 3 runs. And going back to him on the mound, has 5 pitches, I believe, which is really interesting to see. A 5-pitch pitcher who's not normally a pitcher. 2-0 is hit well to center field. Coming in is Max Ross. He's going to have to play that on a hop.
Yeah, and I think that last play kind of scaring Ross. We normally see him come in pretty quickly. That time, a bit of a longer freeze to make sure he didn't misread it. Even if he comes in immediately, I think that ball's dropping in front of him, but a little difficult out there. And like you said, for Castillo at the plate yesterday, 2 for 4 with a walk, 3 RBIs, and a run scored. And we thought he might come in to pitch game 2. He was warming up at one point, but just never ended up coming in.
Now in a little bit of a jam, 2 on and 1 out. So the third inning, the Chinooks have threatened with 2 runners aboard at first and second, and have come up empty both times. That solo shot by Jaden Hill is the only run to their name. And back in the second inning, Kwapnoski, Keaton Laidley drawing back-to-back 2-out walks, but was erased by a fly-out from Cade Smith. And just last inning, Jaden Hill and Kwapnoski on base together, and Wyatt Howerson struck out the side. Of course, that walk sandwiched in between 2 strikeouts. Castillo comes set. The lefty delivers, and that one is outside to Zulaika.
This is the first inning where we've really seen the Chinooks start to string together some hits.
Man, if that relay was unsuccessful, the Chinooks would really be in business right now. 1-1. Hit towards right field. That's going to be trouble. Andrew Lamb is going to have to cut that one off. 1 run comes around to score. Jacob Hayes chugging around third. He's going to get the red light as the Bucs key that one in pretty fast, but it's now a 3-2 ball game.
Yeah, great hitting from Zulaika there, really lining it the other way as it was fading away from Lamb. Makes it difficult to get to quickly, but did a good job to keep the Chinooks to just the one run.
And it would have been a tie ball game if Max Ross, Will Burns hadn't put together a perfect relay. So luckily still a one-run lead, but you got a dangerous hitter at the plate. Maybe a good thing that he's switching around to the right side, but you can only think that that might be his more dominant side.
Yeah, you definitely won't have the same imagery of that home run over the right field wall. Now maybe looking to pull it into the trees over the left field wall. Castillo got to be really careful here with 2 on and 2 in scoring position at that.
Looks like the Bucs already have a reliever going, sidewinder Eddie Torres, who pitched in yesterday's doubleheader. First pitch to Jaden Hill, misses outside. Jacob Hayes goes all the way around to third base on Zuleika's double.
A little bit surprised that the whole Bucs infield isn't in here.
1-0 misses outside again. Wouldn't be surprised if Castillo's a little bit hesitant to attack Jaden Hill after seeing that home run ball. Does have a base open, which would give you the force out. But don't want to hand the Chinooks another base runner. 2-0. Called strike on the upstairs part of the zone. Jaden Hill has a nice smile for the home plate umpire. That one did look a little bit up in the zone. I was surprised that it was a called strike.
Castillo and the Bucs will take it.
That would have been ball 3, instead 2-1. Offering from Castillo misses low and away. And 3 really non-competitive pitches besides that one strike that was hugging the upstairs part of the zone. First base is open, like I said, would set up the force out. 3-1. Foul tipped, so it will be strike 2. Good job from Brett Castillo getting that second strike.
And lucky for the home plate umpire, doesn't even have to worry about whether he went around or not.
Full count pitch to come for Jaden Hill. Castillo brings it, swung on and missed. A great job by Castillo, battles back after a 3-1 count, gets Jaden Hill. So that will bring up Brady Groves, who struck out twice.
An absolutely enormous strikeout from Brett Castillo. Yes, there are still 2 in scoring position, but now with 2 outs, any type of out will do and keep Jacob Hayes from scoring. Would be so huge if Castillo can get out of this inning with the Bucs keeping the lead.
Can't believe I haven't brought it up, but Jordan Joffe not in the lineup against the Bucs. First pitch, popped up foul. Joffe is a Chinooks batter that just kills the Bucs, and you've seen extra base hits, crazy, and a lot of RBIs for Joffe. It seems like whenever the Chinooks put up a big crooked number, he is at the forefront of it.
We calculated it last time these 2 teams played. His average against the Bucs like 100 points higher than his usual average.
Next one misses to Brady Groves, and Jordan Joffe, most at-bats on the team with 121. Degenhardt will surpass him now with being in the lineup in today's game, and Joffe not. Joffe's hitting 240, which really isn't that bad, but is hitting around 320, 330 against the Bucs. 1-1's downstairs.
Yeah, when I was filling out my lineup, was also a little bit surprised not to see him. Wouldn't be surprised if we see him as a pinch hitter at some point.
Not at all, especially if this game remains close like it is right now. 3-2 the Bucs lead, but the Chinooks threatening here with 2 in scoring position. 2-1 from Castillo, misses up and away. Seems like the command is here and there. Some pitches missing nowhere near. Some pitches right down the heart of the middle.
That's kind of how it's been for all the Bucs pitchers so far today. Not a ton of command.
After Groves, it would be Degenhardt. Castillo trying to see him in the 6th inning. The lefty comes set at the belt. Doesn't bother checking the runners. 3-1, a ground ball to Hankins. He's got one play, and it's to first, and he makes a beautiful throw to get Castillo out of the inning. The Chinooks do get 1 run, though. An extra base hit from Luis Zuleika and a couple base hits from Hayes and Rickaball. But Brett Castillo able to get out of the jam. We head to the 6th, 3-2 lead for the Bucs. into the 6th inning. Max Ross is leading off the Bucs. A good job by Brett Castillo to get himself out of a little bit of a jam back in the 5th inning, only surrendering the 1 run. After Max Ross, Rob Vandegrift and Adam Enyart due up. It's been back-to-back 1, 2, 3 for Livesey. He's really settled in. A long break in the dugout, though, after a long and somewhat productive inning for the Chinooks. Do leave 2 stranded, though. Called strike to start Max Ross. 0-1 misses inside. Lefty warming up in the Chinooks bullpen. 1-1, big swing and a miss by Max Ross, makes it 1-2.
And even bigger than leaving those 2 stranded, for me, was Cade Smith trying to stretch that double into a triple. Really cost the Chinooks.
1-2, and that's fouled away. Love to go back and see if Tim Cole was giving him the green light to come to third base, or if it was just on his own accord. 1-2. And just missed. Livesey wanted it, and so did Rickaball behind home plate. And going back to that, it really takes a perfect relay to get him out at third base, and that's what the Bucs did. So for Cade Smith, don't fault him too much unless he blew through a stop sign, as that one is hammered foul. If he did, then that is totally on him.
Yeah, that is a good point. It was a super close play, even with a perfect relay.
Right. 2-2. Big swing and a miss from Max Ross, who looks a little silly. That'll bring up Rob Vandegrift. 2 strikeouts from Max Ross. You do not see that a lot at all. Max Ross, very disciplined eye, not a guy that strikes out in general.
Looks pretty upset with himself, heading towards the dugout.
Yeah, that's just his 11th strikeout now, which really is not that many. I mean, all the Bucs don't strike out a lot at all. Most guys hovering around 10 strikeouts. As Vandegrift takes that one. Carlone with 10, Briggs 9, Eisenstadt 8, Lamb 8, Hankins 10, Callahan 9, all of them hovering around that number. Now 3-0 count from Livesey. Vandegrift a fly out and a ground out. First and third innings respectively. 3-0, nowhere near. 4-pitch walk for Rob Vandegrift. 2 very different at-bats, and an at-bat that Max Ross could have also taken advantage of with his very disciplined eye.
Yep, good job by Vandegrift. And hearing a lot more noise out of this Bucs dugout this half inning. Bunch of guys coming back from the bullpen over towards the dugout, encouraging their guys, and happy for Vandegrift to take that walk.
Eddie Torres has sat down, not warming up in the bullpen anymore. Would be surprised to see him come out. He pitched yesterday in the doubleheader, called strike. Did not pitch much, though.
If I remember correctly, I think he threw like 8 pitches or something like that.
It was very easy when he came into the game. It seemed to make quick work. 0-1's in the dirt. Good eye by Adam Enyart. And hopefully now with the bullpen rejoining the dugout, get the energy up a little bit, get the vibes rolling, and hopefully just make this game more important than it seems to be in the first 3 or 4 frames. Not that both teams are lollygagging by any means, but definitely have to realize the importance of this game for both teams. Swing and a miss by Enyart. As Will mentioned, the Bucs are looking to lock up a home playoff game, at least in the first series, and the Chinooks still just looking to make a playoff berth by any means necessary. Livesey ahead 1-2. Vandegrift a good lead at first base. Next one's in the dirt, gets away. Great read by Vandegrift, and he's got second easy.
Great job by Vandegrift. You get on this Bucs roster, you better have good reads on the base paths, because that's what the Bucs do, and Vandegrift fitting right in that category with Enyart here at the plate.
Once he sees that ball in the dirt, takes an extra big secondary, and once he sees it past Rickaball, he darts second. Love to see it. Next one for Enyart. It's hit to center field. Jaden Hill has that in his sights, makes the grab. Vandegrift tagging, heading to third. It's a good throw, but it's just a little too short, and Vandegrift has got third base easy, but that is the second out.
Yep, but if there's another wild pitch like we just saw, could be coming home. And Will Burns has had a good day at the plate, destroyed a double into the left center field gap, and would love to see him pick up an RBI here and score Vandegrift from third.
First pitch to Burns misses up and away, and like I said, that double has got to feel really good. Even though that triple came against a non-pitcher and a position player in the last game, still's got to feel really good, but that double especially. And this is lined towards short, and a great play by Dagenhart. The feed to first is in time, and the Bucs can't scratch across a run here in the 6th inning. Vandergrift got on with the 4-pitch walk, but Livesey retires the rest of the side. We head to the 7th inning, or excuse me, the bottom of the 6th inning. Still a 3-2 lead for the Bucs. Welcome back. Bottom half of this 6th inning. Eddie Torres now on the hill for the Bucs. We'll tell you all about him after his first pitch to Dagenhart. Misses just off the plate. Came in to pitch in the doubleheader. Just 4 pitches took care of the Glacier Pilots. This is his 4th appearance and his 3 beforehand. 2 innings pitched, 3 hits given up, just the 1 earned run. The next pitch also misses to Dagenhart.
And for Torres yesterday, he gave up a single and then a double play on a line out to first base and a ground out. So there was a base hit worked in there and still only 4 pitches.
This one catches a corner. 2 balls, 1 strike now. In his first outing, could not get a single batter out and eventually let up a run. That was his only earned run, but his next outing, very efficient, very sharp. And then yesterday, also very efficient as a swing and a miss out of Dagenhart makes it 2 balls, 2 strikes.
So far, the Bucs probably using more pitchers than they would have liked, but at the end of the day, if you can get the win, then it's all worth it.
And using a guy like Castillo is nice. 2-2 is not out of play because we don't see him much, and we might not see him much going forward, but he could just be a guy to go out there and just be a bridge to the next reliever that's ready to go, and that's huge for this Bucs team who has lost a couple of arms in Purcell and Rylan Hyder.
And if I'm not
2-2, ground ball to Hankins. The third baseman fields it. The throw a little low, but it's in time. Callahan wraps it in leather. 1 down, you were saying?
I think Riley Hunsaker is warming up.
You know, yesterday I did hear him talk to Monty, and Monty was saying, hey, work on that spinner a little bit, and told him that he was throwing a flat ground, which is basically throwing a bullpen, but in the sense you're not throwing off of a mound, so just a very light bullpen opportunity, just basically getting reps. And that was what he was supposed to be doing today before the game, I guess, or maybe after the game, is that when Misses now to Kwapnowski, but I did overhear that conversation. I was pretty surprised to hear it.
Yeah, not sure if we might see him.
1-0 misses upstairs. 4 pitchers used. That is one more than both of the games yesterday in the doubleheader. 3 pitchers used in each. 2-0 is hammered into right field, but right in line with it is Andrew Lamb, and you cannot be positioned much better than Andrew Lamb was there.
Great play by Lamb. Didn't have the quickest read on it, but once he did get a beat on it, he got right to that spot, and unlucky for Kwapnowski, hit that ball on the line.
Yeah, if that is 5-10 feet over in either direction, Lamb is not able to get to it with how hot up the bat it was. So that'll bring up Keaton Laidley. Chance for the first 1-2-3 inning of the game for this Bucs pitching staff. And it comes right here with Eddie Torres on the hill. That one's outside. My only thought is maybe the Bucs are just not trying to use their best relievers because maybe they're not ready to go, and maybe trying to use them for tomorrow in a big game versus the Miners. A called strike. This still is a really big game because you don't want to drop it and shrink that lead between you and the Miners, but I do understand not pitching your best guys today, saving them for tomorrow. Another big swing and a miss from Laidley. Down 1-2.
Yeah, all those Miners games, the chance of a 2-game swing. If you win, you increase the lead by 1, but if they win, they decrease the lead by 1. So a 2-game difference there.
1-2 and misses outside. Deuce is wild.
Even still, this is not a game that you should be overlooking, just like you were saying. Even with a struggling team and a big game looming tomorrow, these games still matter a lot too. And this is a team that has given you some problems.
Deuce's wild pitch, a ground ball to Rob Vandergrift, and he boots it off his knee. Had some weird spin on it for sure, and was not able to get the right leather on it. So the 1-2-3 inning will have to wait. And it will bring up the leadoff batter, Cade Smith, who hit the ball really well to center field, but had a rude awakening when he got to third base, and Josh Hankins had applied that tag.
Yeah, unfortunately for Vandegrift, no choice but to rule that one as an error. Just a play he's got to make, and if you're the Bucs, just got to hope that the Chinooks don't make you pay.
Just a 1-run lead for the Bucs, trying to hold on here. And also, besides Lipinski, even Halverson didn't throw that many pitches. Brett Castillo definitely did. And if Torres is coming out after this inning, he won't either. So maybe it's a position where the Bucs are just not trying to use that or use guys for that long so they can maybe have them tomorrow. I mean, Torres is pitching obviously just 4 pitches yesterday, but hey, if he pitches just under 20 pitches in this outing, could go a little bit either tomorrow or the next couple of days. 1-1. It's called strike. Maybe instead of going with 2 guys and having Lipinski go 1 more inning and the second guy finishing off the rest, that would eliminate both Lipinski and whoever would come out after him. But then, now you have the opportunity to pitch these guys another day. 1-2, popped up foul ground, long run for Callahan, and he's not going to get there in time. That one way past his reach, so Cade Smith will have some new life.
Yeah, and trying to figure out this pitching plan in the middle of a 9-game and 7-day stretch after yesterday now. 7 games, including this one over today and the 5 days following. So a 6-day span, but just the 1 day off and then into playoffs. So not a lot of flexibility to mess around with things when you don't have a ton of days off right before the playoffs.
1-2, misses outside. A steal by, Keaton Laidley, and they applied the tag. He's out. That was a delayed steal or something. Maybe it wasn't, but caught me off guard for sure. So Laidley tries to snag second base, and the Chinooks inning comes to a crashing halt as Eddie Torres takes care of them. We head into the 7th inning, still a 3-2 lead for the Bucs. Welcome back. Top half of the 7th inning. New pitcher on the hill for the Chinooks. It is Aiden Collins, and to make his 10th appearance in his 9 previous to today, he is 0-1, all of them coming out of the bullpen. 15 and 2/3 innings. 6 hits, 6 earned runs for Aiden Collins. Good for a 3.45 ERA. Also has 1 save, but I'm guessing he's normally a middle reliever type of guy, and that's exactly where he comes into this game to face Josh Hankins and the rest of the Bucs. And now back with the play-by-play for the rest of the game is Will Hopkins.
Thank you very much, Vic. And for Aiden Collins, pitched on Sunday, 6 days ago. 1 inning, 1 hit, no runs, no walks, and a strikeout. Fires a ball. Has only faced off against the Bucs once. That was in the big 10-4 win for the Chinooks at Mulcahy Stadium. Worked an inning and 2/3. 1 hit, 1 earned run, no walks, and 1 strikeout. He cleaned up shop to finish off that game, getting 2 outs in the 8th and all 3 in the 9th.
Ooh.
Strike called.
That was a little bit off the plate, and surprised to see that because it's been a tight zone.
That's definitely outside. 3 balls and a strike now to Hankins, who struck out swinging off of Aiden Collins to finish up that game on the 9th. That single coming from Adam Enyart as the only hit off of Collins. There's a ground ball and deep in the hole. It's short, and another great play by Dagenhart and a good stretch by Jacob Hayes.
That was a really weird ground ball because the second bounce, it totally died. I'm not sure if it hit a weird part of the turf, but a good read by Dagenhart is able to keep that glove down and fire a strike over to first.
So now Cole Carlone digs in with 1 out and nobody on. 2 for 3 so far today. RBI, runs scored. Bucs would love some more runs. 3 in the first 2 innings, none since. And since the Bucs took that 3-0 lead, 2 unanswered for the Chinooks. 1-0 from the lefty, finds the zone. Somewhat of a crossfire delivery. Definitely not sidearm, but also not over the top.
It's super whippy. I don't really know how to describe it, but he kind of just flings that ball out there, especially those breaking balls, the sliders.
And it looked like Carlone a little bit upset with himself for backing out of that one. Two-one, caught on and missed. For Collins, like you said, his whippy motion, he's just 5'9", 210, so has to generate the speed with that torque. Misses high.
Yeah, it's the same slot too, which is what you want to do if you're a pitcher that kind of throws like that. But same slot with the fastball and slider, and he throws it almost the same, and it makes it really tough for batters to pick up on, especially lefty hitters too.
Here's a lefty hitter who takes strike 3. Carlone had trouble picking up on it, just like you said.
Yeah, and Carlone is not a guy that strikes out a lot, and that is a front door breaking ball that just perfectly sweeps over the plate. Looks like it's going to hit Carlone, and it just comes over and it's placed perfectly by Collins.
So now Andrew Lamb, perfect guy to start a 2-out rally. We know him to certainly be gap to gap. Could get himself into scoring position with the snap of a finger as Aiden Collins snaps a called strike.
Man, that is a really good pitch from Collins, and no shade to Andrew Lamb backing out of the play. That one looks like it's going to shave a couple chin hairs off, and it just falls into the strike zone somehow.
Foul ball from Lamb, quickly down 0-2, and quickly will give the line on Livesey. 6 innings, 6 hits, 3 earned runs, 4 walks, and 3 strikeouts. Was nearing 100 pitches, so did a good job to get through 6 innings. 0-2, way upstairs. Didn't matter if Rickaball caught it with nobody on, but impressive that he did.
And for Livesey, probably a little bit frustrated because giving up 3 runs to the Bucs offense is really, really good, but just not a lot of run support at all. And the first game where he started against the Bucs, that 10-4 game, had a lot of run support.
In the air to left field, fading towards the bullpen and over the bullpen fence. Looks like it should be a souvenir for a young fan. And for Livesey, though, he's kind of got to know that with the way his team has been scoring runs or lack thereof, you have to be almost perfect out there.
Yeah, well, he probably knows that he got a gift with the 10 runs put up by the Chinooks in that win. Gave up 3 runs to the Bucs, but still had plenty of run support.
Good job by Lamb. Another foul ball just stays alive. Third foul ball of this at bat as Lamb awaits his 6th pitch from Collins.
Just seems like it's so tough for these Bucs batters to really get solid contact off Collins. And wow, Will, I cannot get over this view of the field. I really can't. It is just a gorgeous day.
1-2, and unfortunately a gorgeous breaking ball from Aiden Collins upstairs. Andrew Lamb couldn't get the barrel on it. The Bucs go down 1-2-3 as it's time to stretch here at Lee Jordan Field. Bucs lead 3-2.
No runs, no one left. Red ticket.
Hope you enjoyed your stretch. Eddie Torres back on the mound for his second inning of work for Torres. 19 pitches to get through that scoreless bottom of the 6th inning. I know it might say 14 on your screen at home. Can be a bit difficult for the system when there's a caught stealing in the middle of an at-bat. Great job by Brody Briggs to make that caught stealing happen. And now Cade Smith, the leadoff batter for the Chinooks, leads off the 7th inning. Torres misses up and in, and a righty-righty matchup you would think would be favorable for the Sidewinder Torres. Rickabaugh on deck, a lefty, and then Jacob Hayes in the hole, another righty. Sidewinder fires one that's skied into right center field. Max Ross ranging pretty far, and he does make the catch. Didn't have the best read on it, had to turn towards the wall at the end and stuck his glove out there, and luckily the ball found it.
I'm shocked that that ball was so close to the warning track. And it's not like Ross was just jogging to it. I mean, he definitely wasn't on his high horse because he too himself probably didn't think that that ball had a chance at going to the warning track. Of course, it was hit so high. But man, the carry that it had, I'm speechless almost. That ball looked like a can of corn to me.
Especially here in Alaska. Wind blowing a little bit towards right field, I suppose. This one towards left field. Long run for Enyart, and he's not going to get there in foul territory.
That ball just absolutely died out there. For a second, I thought Enyart, although he's far off the line, might have a chance to track that down, and it went up and came straight back down. It's like gravity's almost twice as effective here in Alaska sometimes.
No balls and a strike to the catcher. And make that 1 ball, 1 strike. Now as Torres fires up and away. Bucs lead just 1 run.
Really going to have to hold on here, Will. The offense looks like it's just being shut down by this really good Chinooks pitching staff.
No strike given to Torres. Now 2-1. Yeah, Bucs offense has really gone quiet. 5 hits in the first 2 innings, just 1 hit since.
And the best reliever on the hill for the Chinooks.
Called strike to Rickabaugh.
I mean, Lucy's got a 4.42 ERA, which is pretty good. Golko was the 350 when all those strikeouts. Definitely the best starter. And I would say now that actually the best guy to come out of the bullpen would probably be Gavin Alvetti. Just has the 1 start, but a 2.48 ERA. But I'll say Aiden Collins, the way that ball comes out of his slot, it's really tough to pick up on.
Another 1 foul down the left field line. Yeah, Bucs have struggled off of Collins here today. Even though it was just the 1 inning, he looked really good. It was clean, 1, 2, 3.
There's a lot of high ERAs, though, so if they can figure out a way to get Collins uncomfortable, maybe force the Chinooks' hand, get another pitcher in there. But I would be shocked if they don't ride with Collins for the rest of the game.
RJ Rickenbaugh making Eddie Torres work to get him out. 8th pitch coming. 3 balls, 2 strikes, 1 out in the bottom of the 7th. Base is empty. Bucs leading by 1. Another time trying left field. This time it'll be in fair territory and right at Adam Enyart, second out.
Perfect, and for Torres, just going for the quick outs. I know that was a long at bat, but he got the pop out pretty quickly to Cade Smith, and hopefully could challenge Jacob Hayes and get him to pop one out.
Jacob Hayes.
So now Jacob Hayes. He takes a strike. Hayes 1 for 3. And that one came in and hit him.
Yeah, it didn't even look like it was the slide, or maybe it was, and it just totally didn't slide at all. I think it was. It's what he's pointing at a little bit, too. I thought that ball was going to come in, but it came in and hit Hayes, so 1-2-3 is going to have to wait, Will. This might be a game where the Bucs just don't have a 1-2-3 inning, and they have just done a great job with it, really keeping the Chinooks limited.
And Hayes over there represents the tying run that's going to prompt a mound visit from Eddie Torres' head coach in college ball, Tim Montez, and that's going to be it for Eddie Torres. Andrew Rudd coming on with a runner aboard and 2 outs in the bottom of the 7th will bring you the rest of this inning after a quick break. Back for the bottom of the 7th inning, 2 away. Jacob Hayes at first and Luis Zuleika at the plate. It's Andrew Rudd who will face the third baseman.
Can't think of a better guy to come out of the bullpen for the Bucs. In for his 12th appearance, in his 11, he all coming out of the bullpen, 2-1, has 3 saves, 23 innings pitched, 19 hits, and the 1 earned run. Actually, second lowest ERA, .39, believe it or not.
Unreal from Andrew Rudd, whose first pitch is just a hair outside. Rudd pitched in game 2 yesterday, worked the 9th inning, 1 hit, no runs, no walks, and a strikeout, and also pitched on Wednesday. It took him 6 pitches to retire the side in the 9th inning.
We could barely get a word in that inning. We were trying to give his stats and his last time out, and it just seemed like pitch after pitch was an out.
So 1 ball, no strikes to Zuleika. Make that 1 ball, 1 strike with a fastball that's right there. Jacob Hayes at first representing the tying run. 1 run in the first for the Bucs, 2 in the second. Chinooks responding with 1 in the bottom of the second and then 1 more in the 5th. That's where we stand. Something about this park just makes the games tense at this stage of the game. 3-2 couldn't get, or excuse me, 1-1 couldn't get Zuleika to offer.
Yeah, thing for Rudd is just try to get something quick. Already thrown 3 pitches, but want to give yourself as many innings as possible and try not to use a 6th pitcher in today's game.
2-1 fouled off now, 2-2, and yeah, it would be interesting to see what the Bucks do with Rudd here. Usually see him more as like a 9th inning guy, but here in the 7th, and the Bucks already going through a good number of pitchers in the midst of part of their schedule where there's a lot of games and not a lot of days.
Maybe this is the last guy that the Bucks call on. Mentioned a couple days ago, or about 2 or 3 games ago he pitched, and then yesterday he pitched, so maybe just empties out the gas tank right here.
Grounder to third base, Josh Hankins, per usual, a little cool with that one, and he throws across to Ryan Callahan. Rudd does his job to clean up the 7th inning. We head to the 8th. Bucks could use some more runs to make this a little less stressful. Back here at Lee Jordan Field, Will Hopkins, Vic Maslia for the top of the 8th inning. Bucks leading 3-2, and whether it's Rudd to finish this thing out in the 8th or 9th or someone else, would love to give him a little bit more of a cushion than just the one run that things stand out right now.
Yeah, I don't want to say anything for sure, but maybe Rudd is the last guy they call upon. Just let him empty out the gas tank and sit him for a couple of games and let him regain that strength and get him ready for the end of the season and then playoffs, of course.
Nobody warming up in the Bucks bullpen as Ryan Callahan takes a 2nd consecutive strike.
We've seen Rudd go in the 9th inning and pick up saves. He has a couple of saves, actually, 3 total, but we also can see him go 2 or 3 innings.
Callahan scoops this one to shallow left field. Dagenhart backs up from the shortstop position to make the play.
And I think it just might be the best decision, Will. You know, I always say one of my favorite sayings is every time that bullpen door opens, you have another chance at someone laying an egg. And 6 times you open that bullpen door, or 5 times, I guess, but 6 pitchers coming into the game, at a certain point, Will, you're just asking for the Chinooks to score more than just 2 runs. I think it might be smart to go with your best reliever in Andrew Rudd.
This has been a pretty good reliever in Aiden Collins. 4 up, 4 down so far.
And I say best reliever, I just mean on paper. Andrew Rudd is the best reliever, but
yeah.
we have tons of really good relievers on this Bucks team.
100%. A lot of good ones to pick from. Relievers and starters, just good pitching, up and down. Not a team that can only win games when certain guys are out there.
Arnett would also be nice, too, to come into this game, especially if we need 2 or 3 innings, but he pitched yesterday, started.
Yep, so not someone that we'd expect, but definitely normally in a game like this, somebody that you'd expect would normally have said Brody Purcell or Rylan Hyder. Guys like that no longer with the team. 2 balls and a strike to the Bucks catcher. He takes inside. Would love to get Briggs on. Bucks haven't had a lot of base runners lately. Haven't had a single one with Aiden Collins on the mound.
Last one in the 6th inning was Vandegrift after a 4-pitch walk from Livesey.
3-1. Briggs swinging away. Fouls it off at the plate. Now 3-2. And would just love to have a person on first base to maybe distract the lefty Aiden Collins. And then also knowing what speed Briggs has, wouldn't be surprised to see him go possibly. Just start to get something going, but that's not going to help.
Just a really good slider from Collins. It's hard to read if you're any Bucks batter, especially a lefty. And just curious to see how the righties will handle him. He's just seen one right-handed batter. That was Josh Hankins, and that was a first pitch ground ball, if I'm not mistaken, back last inning.
Another lefty, Max Ross, takes up and away. Has a single sandwiched between two strikeouts, one swinging, one looking.
And even with that single, still feels like he's been cheated a little bit. Strike 3 call in the first inning. Didn't like that too much. And then just last inning, swung and missed it, or excuse me, 2 innings ago. Just a really tough at bat against Livesey.
Yeah, when he had the single, he had a check swing where the home plate umpire rang him up. He does it again here, but this one definitely looked like Ross went around. Wasn't so sure on the single in the very next pitch. Ross deposited into right field. So now behind 1-2, Max Ross takes low.
And smart by Collins to try to speed it up a little bit. 2 outs, 2 strike count ahead. A good job by Ross taking it a little slowly.
Deuce is wild. Max Ross trying to give Rob Vandergrift a chance, but unfortunately he could not. A swinging strikeout. Aiden Collins, his second consecutive 1-2-3 inning. Bucks still clinging to a 1-run lead as we hit the bottom half of the 8th. Andrew Rudd back out for the 8th inning, just as we expected, with nobody warming up. Jaden Hill turns around again. I can't even keep track with his 3 plate appearances. The first 2 were from the left, then the right, now back to the left. And this is the side where he did some serious damage. Home run off Eli Lipinski as Rudd starts him with the ball downstairs.
And we saw Senagorski asking the home plate umpire something, just probably about that strike zone. It's been really tight all game.
Whoa. Jaden Hill pulled that one big time. Luckily, way out ahead of it, but just showing off the damage he can do.
Yeah, he's a scary batter. I always will say that I'm just surprised that he doesn't have a higher batting average.
And more extra base hits. Big swing and a miss as Andrew Rudd gets him down to a knee.
Yeah, Jaden Hill, 17 strikeouts. Definitely would be one of the highest if he was on the Bucs, but not on the Chinooks.
Liner diving stop by Josh Hankins. A little bit awkward, couldn't decide if he wanted to all-out dive for it or stay on his feet. Ended up dropping to his knees, but was able to make the play.
Yeah, I really like that play by Hankins. He looked it into his glove and made a wise decision that he didn't need to really dive for it.
So now Brady Groves. Groves looking for his first base hit. Hasn't even reached first base yet. As the first pitch misses, 2 strikeouts and a ground out. Rudd working very quickly. Finds the outside corner. Good frame by Brody Briggs. Really have a good view of that from back here. Brody catching with Brady hitting. A little bit too low from Rudd, and he's working at warp speed.
Sure is.
Just like that game on Wednesday. 2 balls, 1 strike. Make that 2-2. Rudd pounding the zone.
Yeah, Rudd's been very efficient. I think that's why Monty put him in for this opportunity to maybe just finish off this game.
Slow roller to Callahan. Has no problems with it. Tells Rudd that he can handle it, and he can. There's 2 away.
Yeah, like I just said, pretty quick at bat. And even if they're more than 4 or 5 pitches, he pitches so fast in general that it makes you think that it's a quicker at bat.
It is in terms of time.
Yeah, exactly.
At the plate, for your Chinooks, number
We were
9,
talking during
Pregame.
break, just over 2 hours and 15 minutes into this one. It feels a lot slower than that,
Yeah.
but it isn't. Had some long half innings, have also had some super quick ones. Hopefully, Rudd can make the latter happen here. So far, so good. 2 quick outs and now a strike on Degenhart.
I mean, 2 hours 15, I think we're gearing up for the 9th inning, or maybe the end of the game.
Still 2:30 wouldn't be anything crazy.
No, not at all. But just because it's a 3-2 game and now we're feeling everything so quickly between innings, doesn't seem real.
Another chance for Callahan. He'll take it himself yet again. An Andrew Rudd type inning. 1, 2, 3 with all 3 balls in play. We head to the 9th. Last chance for insurance for the Bucs, leading by just 1.
Your Chinooks 2. Today's game brought to you by
Baden Collins out for the 9th inning, and not surprising at all. He's been fantastic for these Chinooks with 2 1, 2, 3 innings, and that last inning for the Bucs, the first 1, 2, 3 inning.
Yeah, finally. But it's good to see it happen. And, of course, Andrew Rudd brings it. He's just been looking great all year.
Rob Vandergrift digs in,
batting for the Bucs,
takes the strike.
number 3, Rob Vandergrift.
Keep hearing the players announced after the first pitch.
It's been quick in between innings, I will say.
And unlucky for the Bucs that there's nobody on base there. Surefire balk. Would have had an advance of all the runners. Unfortunately, bases are empty though. Now Collins is able to successfully bring it. Not successfully enough to find the zone though. 1 ball, 1 strike. It's Vandergrift, Enyart, and Burns. 7, 8, and 9. 3 righties. Vandergrift fouls it off. Now 1 ball and 2 strikes for Collins. 31 pitches coming into this inning. Now 34. Reminder for those of you who haven't been with us all season, that pitch count updating at the conclusion of each plate appearance. 1, 2, called strike 3. Beautiful breaking ball in the back door. Gets away from Rickaball a little bit, but he's able to make the throw.
Yeah, it's a beautiful pitch, but I don't think it's really a strike. And it's been a really tight zone on the lower half and outside part of the plate to righty batters. I really just didn't think that ball caught the corner, but they're going to give him the strikeout call, and I just don't see why the zone would be expanding this late, Will.
Adam Enyart has been unable to reach first base. Looking to change that here. And I'm not sure how the last pitch could be a strike, and that could look pretty identical to me.
Yeah, last one was a little bit lower, but same outsideness, I guess you could say, if that's a word.
No, I like it. I like it. Once you started, I hope that's where you were going.
Well, I'm glad.
2 balls, no strikes to Adam Enyart. Swings at this one and lines it up the middle for a base hit. It's a 1-out base runner for the Bucs.
And it's funny because that doesn't even look like the best hit from Enyart. Seems like he caught it off the fist and just able to fight it off into center field. And with a guy like Collins on the hill, those righty batters have definitely have a better chance than the lefty ones, but still, it's so tough to get solid contact. And those are the type of base hits that you're most likely going to get facing Collins. And maybe if he's a starter and you see him 2 or 3 at bats. Maybe if you're righty, you can really time one up, but it's super difficult.
Would be surprised to see Burns showing bunt. He does, pulls it away as the pitch is outside. But for Enyart, like you said, it was a little bit in off the hands, kind of had to fight it off and muscle it into center field. Not surprising because of Collins' delivery, a little bit of crossfire action. It's going to come in on those righties. Burns not showing bunt, pitches over the heart of the plate. Enyart, a huge runner at first base. His run would increase this lead to 2 runs for the Bucs, and for Rudd, presumably in the 9th. A 2-run lead versus a 1-run lead, big difference. It seems like just a run, but at the same time, in a 1-run game, the tying run is at the plate at all times, and if he gets on, the go-ahead run is at the plate. Whereas with 2-run lead, everything gets pushed up a little bit. Burns going to have to battle 1 and 2. A little bit surprised that he showed bunt the first time and then didn't each of the last 2 pitches. But that's been the strategy. Would not expect him to show bunt with 2 strikes, but we have seen the Bucs do that some. He's swinging away and to no avail. Swinging strikeout. That's the 6th for Aiden Collins in just 8 outs.
Yep, and now 3 straight innings with at least 2 strikeouts, and that's just been his main method of getting these Bucs out. He's done a really good job of that.
Josh Hankins, would love to see him line something up. He's been hitting the ball hard lately, but today 4 ground outs, one of them a bunt, the other 3 much more usual. Would love to see him pull something down the line or find a gap. Enyart representing that 4th run, which would be so big for the Bucs. Beautiful pitch from Collins. Really have a front row seat to it. Bucs looking to clinch a top 2 seed and home field in the first round of the ABL playoffs with a win here. Another call on the outside corner. Collins getting that somewhat consistently this inning.
It better be consistent for Rudd in the bottom half of this inning, because if not, you know the Bucs are not going to like that too much.
Neither would we. 1 ball, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Enyart goes, and it doesn't matter. Hankins swings and misses. Strikeout number 7 for Aiden Collins in 3 innings of work. Andrew Rudd back out for the 9th. Bucs looking to secure home field in the first round.
In Chugiak.
Bottom of the 9th inning, Bucs leading the Chinooks by a score of 3-2. A win here, Bucs clinch a top 2 seed, and with that, the first round of the playoffs for the Bucs would be at Mulcahy Stadium. Andrew Rudd looking for a 7-out save, has to face 8, 9, and 1. Kwapnoski, Laidley, and Smith. For Kwapnoski, 0 for 1, just that 1 at bat because he's walked twice, the out a liner to Andrew Lamb in right field. First pitch of this inning for Rudd. It's on the ground to the second baseman, Vandergrift. Gloves and makes the throw, and that's an Andrew Rudd out if I've ever seen one.
It sure is. 1 pitch and 1 out already. And I'll tell you, this crowd, they don't care what the record is for the Chinooks. They are into this ball game. It's a 1-run lead for the Bucs. They know it's the bottom of the 9th. They know it's the last chance for the Chinooks, and they are loud up here. And I'm sure that this is honestly a good thing for Rudd and the Bucs. They're probably fired up right now. They know the fan base is not on their side, but they like it either way.
Rudd fires a strike to Keaton Laidley, who's 0 for 2 with a walk. Also reached on an error over at second base, and nothing Rudd would rather do than silence this Chugiak crowd. No balls and a strike in that corner. Love to see the consistent call. Lately a lefty, we saw it to righties from Collins, but still the same part of the zone.
Yep, filling up that zone perfectly. Let's see another one right here.
No balls, 2 strikes. No strikeouts so far for Rudd. Doesn't change that with that pitch.
Good pitch, though, still. Good miss. Trying to get a chase from Lately up there, and it's okay that he didn't. Still ahead.
Yeah, with the command he's had, don't want to throw too many strikes. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Swing and a miss. There's the strikeout for Andrew Rudd. Bucks 1 out away from clinching this top 2 seed.
And Will, that is just pure domination right there. And we saw that out of Halverson, but here's my fastball. See if you can hit it.
Yep.
And they just can't. And I think that Rudd knows that, but like you said, can't throw too many strikes. But man, if you're as confident as Rudd is out there, let him do his thing. Maybe the next 3 pitches should all be strikes.
Cade Smith is the batter. 1 for 4 so far today. Rudd starts him off with a strike, another strike, 7 balls, 16 strikes so far for Andrew Rudd.
And these are all fastballs down the middle. Can't make it up. That's
0-1 outside corner.
Yep.
Gotta give him that call after giving it to Aiden Collins.
You have to. You're exactly right. And if I'm Andrew Rudd, I am throwing a fastball or a breaking ball in that outside part of the plate right now.
It's the breaking ball, and Brody Briggs liked it. Really could have seen Cade Smith swinging at that one.
Oh, yeah.
Tempting for sure.
Great eye, though.
1 ball, 2 strikes, 2 outs. The pitch from Rudd. Just a tad high, and incredible discipline from Cade Smith not to offer at it.
2 really, really good and competitive pitches that barely missed the zone.
Deuce is wild now here at Lee Jordan Field. The 2-2. Grounder up the middle, off the back of the mound. Going to be a tough play for Will Burns, who slides to stop the ball, but can't get it into his hand to make the throw. An infield single for Cade Smith, and things get a little bit more interesting now.
Yep, definitely get more interesting. Rickleball has come up and has just been retired once, 2 walks, and a base hit. Has a very disciplined eye, but you got a guy in Rudd who does not walk up many batters at all, and has been throwing a lot of strikes. So just has to think about that last batter, and hey, that was a weak ground ball, and it just happened to go up the middle. Good approach by Cade Smith. He earned that base hit. Got to give it to him. But now for Rudd, just focus on the next batter.
Yep, RJ Rickleball is that next batter. Great first pitch, tipped into Briggs' mid. And Cade Smith, no stolen base attempts so far this season. A little bit surprised that the Chinooks haven't opted for a pinch runner, with that being the tying run over there at first base. Rudd trying to make it a moot point by taking care of Rickleball, who bounces this one. A chance at second for Vandergrift, and the new Buck secures home field in the first round. Huge. A great job by Andrew Rudd. You know, Will, I thought about it, and I was like, well, this Bucs team, usually their magic number is 4 pitchers or less. They go with 5 pitchers in today's game, and I'm just thinking Andrew Rudd's coming out of the bullpen last. I don't think that the Bucs have another arm that's better than Andrew Rudd to come out of that bullpen that's ready to go. So my thought process was just keep him into the game. Let him go. Let him empty out the tank. He pitched yesterday. He's pitched a couple of games ago. He probably has enough to finish off the game. He did. Now he has to sit a couple of games, but this is perfect. A much-needed win for the Bucs. And yes, they won't have Andrew Rudd for a couple of games at least, but hey, they still got other guys coming back. Arnett should be good to go. This is a huge win for the Bucs. They lock up that home playoff game for the first series, and it's just an absolute great win. And the road trip technically starting with that doubleheader yesterday, but it really started today with the Bucs actually playing on the road, and what a great way to get it started with the win. Some more games coming up, both here and in Palmer against the Miners. But for the Bucs, you get that sweep against the Pilots yesterday, and then starting it off with a win where you didn't play your best baseball, you didn't have your typical production at the plate, and you had a couple pitchers who didn't throw as well as they would normally like to. But that's what good teams do. They pick up wins when they're not playing their best baseball, and that's why this team is looking down at everybody else in the standings. Yeah, and believe it or not, that's actually the third one-run victory against this Chinooks team, and the Bucs get it done. And it's interesting because a 12-7 win, an 8-2 win, a 6-0 shutout. I mean, this Bucs team has had games where they have just absolutely dominated the Chinooks, and today just wasn't one of them. Bats were a little bit slow, but the pitching staff was great when you needed it to be, and it shows a lot about the Bucs. Like, yes, the Bucs are the number 1 team. They're facing the last place team in the Chinooks, but the Chinooks can still play baseball. They can still make games close, and I think the Bucs did a great job of not letting the game get too out of hand and just
letting everything go a little bit slower, being relaxed, and still winning this game by just 1 run.
And this is baseball. You're not going to beat every team that you're better than, and I think it's safe to say this Bucs team is better than these Chinooks, and we especially take it for granted when you're not playing series. When you're playing series, you say, hey, take 2 out of 3 if you lose the game, whatever.
Right.
When you're playing these 1 games at a time, it's more understandable to pick up a loss, and in reality, we're kind of more expecting to win, but it is understandable to pick up that loss, and the Bucs avoid that today. Go ahead and give you the final line score of this one. It was 3 runs on 7 hits and 2 errors, 7 left for the Bucs. For the Chinooks, 2 runs, 6 hits, no errors, and 9 left. Looking forward in the schedule, the Bucs will be back in action close to this part of town, facing the Miners tomorrow. That's a 2 o'clock start, 6 o'clock for those of you tuning in on the East Coast. As for the Chinooks, their next game not until Monday against these Bucs here at Lee Jordan Field at 6 o'clock. Bucs take it 3-2 for Vic Maslia. I'm Will Hopkins. We'll see you next time.